He's keeping that pressure. Dream. He's got a dream.
You got a dream. It's going to be fulfilled. I have a dream. To sign with UFC and Dana White. Oh, I have a dream. I've been to the mountaintop, for my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of these knees in your chest.
What up, everybody? It is the Sound of Violence podcast yet again. This is Pulver. I am here with my co-host, Chris Madaffer. What up, bro?
Oh, hanging in there. I hate this heat.
Yeah, it is warm as shit where we are. I'm just glad that I am not hearing the Blue Angels yet, because I've been hearing them all week, and we know how that goes on this show. I should note, drinking the Sour Winch Blackberry Ale from Ballast Point.
Just
right now.
released today.
Yeah, fucking smells fantastic, and that is a red ass, like ruby red fucking beer right there. It's got a goddamn pink foam on it.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty ridiculous. So if you guys have not heard the podcast before, we are in a podcast that breaks down, or actually, I should say we discuss some MMA podcasts we've been listening to for the week, as well as break down some cards. In the first segment, we'll talk about a podcast we think everybody should catch, podcast we think everybody should skip, and a podcast you can't miss. As well as, I have a new quick segment on this one that we're going to do about a couple new shows I listened to that I'm going to try and start doing regularly. Just listen to new shows that I've heard of but never got around to. So why don't we start off the top, dude? Do you want to go ahead and kick us into what podcast you think people should catch this week? Actually, while you're pulling that up, I'm going to talk about how goddamn good this beer is.
Hell yeah.
If you guys don't know, Ballast Point's been putting out... Oh, that's sour. Oh, that's sour.
It's real good, though.
It's real good. It's real fucking sour. So this is the first time I've actually tried this. It's sour as shit, bro.
Yeah. I mean, you figure with a blackberry, you get some good citrusy goodness in there.
Well, and I figured it would be a little sweeter or like a little bit like smoother, but it's got a fucking like grab the back of your like molars goddamn kind of sour. It's brutal. I'm a big fan.
I'd say my catch this for the week is going to be the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani because of the guests that he had on there.
He had some good guests for sure.
Yeah, I think I listened to about 3 or 4.
Sure, what are some of the ones that stood out?
The one that stood out, the first guest he had on was Gegard Mousasi, who is now fresh off of signing a 6-fight deal with Bellator.
That was a great fucking segment.
Yeah.
I always like Gegard though. He's pretty funny.
Yeah, Gegard's really down to earth. He's like a fighter. He's a fighter's fighter. He's a guy.
Exactly.
You don't ever hear any complaints
It's like
from him.
59 and 10 or something.
Some crazy. Yeah, shows up to work. No complaints from him. He said he went to the UFC retreat initially. I think it was about a month and a half ago now, to have a meeting with Dana and the lawyers to discuss signing a new contract or negotiating a new deal. He said ultimately at the end he has no harsh words or anything bad to say about the UFC. He still respects Dana White and the UFC a lot. For him, it came down to signing with Bellator ultimately because he thinks Bellator is currently the finer place to be as far as sponsorship goes, as far as money opportunities, because he felt tied down by the Reebok deal.
Yeah, and he also actually did say one thing about the UFC. He said, I didn't like the way they talked to me.
Yeah.
Which was super telling, I feel like. Like, that's a bad sign. That's the kind of shit that I feel like Lorenzo Fertitta used to smooth over between people. Like, he was always the guy that was known to like, oh, yeah, I'll go sit down with Chris Weidman and we'll make this happen or whatever. And that's gone. Like, he was actually, it's gone unless you're Conor McGregor, because then Lorenzo comes in and gets the fucking Floyd fight made for you.
Yeah, that, he said he liked Bellator because of the matchmaking flexibility. Gegard considers himself a fighter who's more takes pride on fighting, not necessarily for the belt, but fighting the most interesting fights that'll test his skills. I appreciate that mindset from him. I haven't really heard of someone think of it that way. I know usually when you fight for the belt, usually it's against the best fighters, but either way, he's getting tested every time they throw someone in front of him. So
yeah, and he's never been. It seems like the dude has said no to anyone. Like it seems like he's fought just about everybody that anyone was put in front of him.
Yeah, and I like how he said too that he thinks now that he's in. He said the UFC. The only thing that kind of irked him a little bit is how he felt Robert Whittaker skipped ahead of him in line as far as an interim title shot. I see his point though, because Gegard was beating some top guys too, especially after that win against Weidman.
Yeah,
could have figured he could have probably fought Yoel just as much as Whittaker could have.
Yeah, absolutely. Except he was talking out against the promotion and was on the open market.
He hurt himself a little bit there, whether he wants to admit that or not. Either way, glad to see him in Bellator. He says he would love to fight Rory McDonald at middleweight, of course, because he can never make welterweight. Says he also wants to fight light heavyweight.
Fights to happen in Bellator.
He wants to make light heavyweight again, and he wants to fight in heavyweight. Why not?
I heard that too. And Fedor, I'd watch that fight.
That'd be fun.
I think Gegard might win that fight, despite how little he is compared to Fedor.
I think so. Jesse Taylor was on. What a hell of a redemption story for him, quite literally.
He's interested in buying an RV. I know that much.
Yeah, that, and what was interesting to me is how he said Tom Galicchio was the one who reached out to him about the tough redemption opportunity.
Yeah, which is cool.
Because he said before he had fought all over the world, Argentina, I think like Siberia, anywhere. And when he was in Moscow,
a couple places in Russia. Yeah,
in Moscow, he said he was very intimidated because of the crowd and how he was treated there. I remember they said he had to cut 30 pounds in 24 hours. He said when he got back home to San Diego, he was about to retire until Tom Galicchio gave him a call. And one thing led to the other, and he was on top 25. So,
good for that dude.
Yes, I'm glad.
Good for him to not kick out a window of a limousine again. Also.
Yeah, because I remember he said he didn't regret that necessarily because it set up things how they are now.
That's what everyone says now that things have worked out well.
Yeah, exactly. It's easier to say that once things work out.
When you lose your fucking entry fight into the house the second time around, you don't necessarily say some shit like that.
Justin Gaethje was on as a guest. Very good performance in his victory over the weekend against Michael Johnson.
Classic Gaethje interview.
It was great. He said he didn't feel too much in danger even after being tagged hard at the end of the first round. He says Johnson's comments about his family didn't bother you. He's above that kind of shit. That's a good point. That's a good, thing to be able to hold on to.
Yeah, it's a solid outlook.
Yeah. Says his confidence is high. He envisioned his victory the whole time based on the style matchup. Says he knew Johnson didn't have a second plan of attack after he was starting to pressure him against the cage because Johnson kept talking so much shit about, I'm just going to keep tagging you from outside and I'll knock you out kind of thing. But, of course, Gaethje kept talking about how he's just going to keep pressing forward and everything, and that's exactly what he did.
Gaethje's forward pressure is a fucking real thing, and I said that going into that card. A lot of people did. People underestimate the way that the quality of competition he's had in Bellator, because no one knows how goddamn good Luis Palomino is. That dude is a beast, and despite him having like a whatever record, it's because he's taken some crazy fights in Bellator. And Luis Palomino's been there since like the early tournament days of Bellator. He's been there. I mean, he switched over to I believe he was in the early tournament days of Bellator and switched over to WSOF.
I believe
if I remember right. I could be wrong. I'm almost positive though, because I think he was one of the dudes that might have even been like the fucking ESPN Deportes days and shit.
That's right.
I believe.
He also said if Drakkar Klose would have thrown more leg kicks against Mark Diakiese, he probably would have gotten one of Gaethje's bonuses that he got, because Gaethje got knockout of the night and performance of the night, so he got $100K.
Fight of the night and performance of the night.
Fight and performance, that's what it was. He thinks his next logical fight should either be Tony or just a top 3 talent. He likes Eddie Alvarez. And on that note, it just got announced today.
Confirmed.
I know a lot of people hate the Ultimate Fighter, but Ultimate Fighter 26 will be Team Gaethje versus Team Alvarez.
Yeah, I heard someone say that they're not even mad at the Ultimate Fighter. They're just mad at the Ultimate Fighter ties up contenders.
But didn't Gaethje, does he need time to heal?
He has a 6-month suspension now.
So then that's probably the actual reason why he accepted that. So don't blame him, because it's going to take that long.
Well, especially since Luke Thomas said he heard from Dana they already recorded the first episode.
Oh, wow.
Which is insane. I don't know how that's possible.
Wait, what the fuck?
I don't know how it's
Dude,
possible.
they must have recorded that like on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, like I think Dana liked Gaethje so much. He's like,
well, because that's what he said. He said backstage like Dana was hugging him and shit.
Oh yeah,
saying all this good.
Dana was sucking mad Gaethje dick the entire time. He's like, bro, you get all the bonuses. Cue the gif of Dana yelling the Conor McGregor's name, where he's like, he has his mouth weirdly open and it's all awkward. And he's red.
The thing about it too is, since Conor's tied up with Floyd, I mean, good for him getting that money. I don't blame him. He's got a new little mini Conor away in Justin Gaethje, potentially.
Gaethje's like
probably minus the obnoxious, what would you call it, boisterous. Just the way he presents himself. You're not going to see Justin Gaethje dressing up in Gucci in mink coats and all that shit.
Yeah, I would say he's more like the new Donald Cerrone. Yeah. And we all know how much fucking Dana loves Donald Cerrone.
Gaethje's like the blue-collar McGregor in the sense of his potential, but he doesn't flash. Yeah. He's not a flashy guy.
I would even call him more like the blue-collar Donald Cerrone. Yeah. Like, just like fucking brings his lunch pail to work and beats the shit out of people for a living. And he's like, this
they've said in the NFL and other sports about
team all violence.
It's in fight of white athletes everywhere. He's the first guy in, last guy out, lunch pail kind of guy. So that's Justin Gaethje for the UFC.
That's right.
Those are the notes I had for the MMA Hour. What is your catch this of the week?
So the episode I thought people should catch for the week was Press Row, which is a show Jordan Breen does with Sherdog. Jordan Breen every week does his Jordan Breen show live on the air, and then he releases a Press Row segment where he basically just sits down with somebody and talks bullshit. This week was Ben Fowlkes, which was super cool. So it's just Jordan Breen and Ben Fowlkes talking bullshit. They talk a lot about the 213 main event. And the X main event with Amanda Nunes. Ben clarifies that Bobby Knuckles did not come from them, but from a listener mail suggestion.
Oh wow!
And Ben's like, "Yo, whoever that was, start claiming that shit on Twitter because you totally are the reason it happened." So they talked a lot about nicknames in the episode, which is pretty great. They also, Jordan Breen explained how fucking devastatingly sad he was when he found out that the amphitheater in Toronto is. The Budweiser Amphitheater is formerly the Molson Amphitheater. Oh, and wow. He was like, because he was like, what the fuck is the Budweiser Amphitheater? And everyone's like, oh, it's the Molson Amphitheater. He's like, fuck! He's super upset about it. Pretty funny, because of course Jordan lives in Toronto. And then they talk a ton about nicknames and just all the ridiculousness. I believe... I think Ben Fowlkes literally spells out like most of the famous nicknames you've heard, like where Frankie Cars came from. I don't think he did Matt Matrione. He talks pretty Tony Pettis, like a bunch of the classic co-main event nicknames, and it was just a weird, like funny, lighthearted segment that they did, which I thought was great and I really enjoyed.
When you say Tony Pettis, I prefer, I read this one.
Pretty Tony Pettis.
Yeah, the one, how I told you YouTube comments sometimes have hidden gems in them? Mm-hmm. Funny, the one I saw was Anthony Steak Time Pettis. That's the one I always will think of.
Pretty good.
When he blew weight. People don't know. He had a filet mignon on Embedded when he blew weight.
Oh, was it actually filet?
Yes. Oh, yeah. He had a big, no, it might have been, I think it was a ribeye. Because at a steakhouse in Milwaukee, and they give Anthony Pettis his own fucking cutting steak knife that has his name engraved in it.
Oh, so he has to.
Yeah. So like, I gotta have the house ribeye or prime rib, whatever it was.
I think he would have blown weight anyway.
Yeah. So he is. I mean,
dude never made 145 in his life. So.
That's the thing. I still like to call him Steak Time just because of that one incident and because it's fucking dumb and
pretty good.
Funny, so.
I also would accept Anthony Steak Knife Pettis.
That works too.
That's actually, I like it kind of better, even though it's no longer part of his nickname anymore. But that's pretty solid. But yeah, I thought it was just a fun episode, and I don't shout that show out often enough. Like, Breen's done amazing episodes with guys like Kareem Zidane or Mark Raimondi, or a lot of just media guys that he's just friends with. A lot of Canadian dudes, a lot of junkie guys, a lot of Sherdog guys. Just a fun show that I think is super underrated. So, yeah, you guys can always find that. If you go to SoundCloud, I'll link it in the description like always, but Sherdog, the Sherdog podcast feed, the Sherdog SoundCloud page, you can find all that shit. So, I definitely recommend checking it out, because Jordan Breen's a goddamn hilarious person who takes care of raccoons in his side time with his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah,
he's a nice
remember
guy.
That. House-sitting raccoons.
Yeah, he's literally house-sitting raccoons.
Right.
So, or I think he's stopped doing that. I think he stopped milk feeding raccoons or whatever he was doing for like a couple weeks. So, Fucking just a weird story. So, why don't you get us on to the podcast? Yeah, you think people should skip?
Yeah, unfortunately, this was real easy. This episode was only about like 50 minutes long. It was You're Welcome with Chael Sonnen.
Which one?
His latest one, which talked about the Mayweather-McGregor tour. That's the only MMA / boxing stuff.
So hard, yeah.
That's the only MMA boxing thing he talked about.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
After that, all he talked about was Donald Trump Jr. and how he's not qualified to be in politics. We know this. Well, any Trump isn't qualified. I'm not trying to bring my politics into it, but whatever. It's our fucking podcast. Either way, he just lost me when he got to all the political talk and talk about Hillary, and it's just like, dude, I want to hear fights. So, but just to go over, I guess
I believe it was called "The Show Must Go On" was the name of the episode.
As far as the press conference goes.
Oh wait, no, that's the wrong.
For people who aren't aware, Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, it was you know what it was? It was the cat that ate the canary. That was the name of the episode.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was it. Either way. He discussed Conor yesterday, saying some suggestively racist things towards Floyd about.
I mean,
it was a joke, but it wasn't a good.
Conor's not racist.
Yeah,
there are racist things within There is a history of calling black people boy in this country and telling.
Oh no, he wasn't talking about that. He wasn't talking about that. He was doing the monkeys thing, dancing like
the
monkeys, and then he's like. I'm half black, so below my waist, like
that was just
tattoos,
a shitty joke.
His tattoo joke or something.
That's just a really no. That wasn't a tattoo joke. That was a dick size joke.
Oh, okay. That's because he said. Did he say half black from the stomach down? Or
he said
below the waist?
half stomach. He said I'm half black from the belly button down, which makes zero sense.
Yeah.
That's not how that middle school fucking joke goes. It goes I'm black from the waist down.
Oh yeah.
Oh, because I got a big dick. It's the shittiest little kid joke. And yeah, I'm not a fan. Although I did appreciate Floyd Mayweather calling Conor a stripper when he had his shirt off and throwing a shitload of cash on him.
That was pretty great.
He's like, DJ, hit the music for the stripper. He starts throwing money on Conor. I was like, that's real good.
Yeah.
We'll talk a bit about that.
And of course, Conor's like,
later.
They're all ones.
Yeah, well, yeah. And then Floyd says, it's what you deserve.
Yeah.
Real good. Floyd fucking 10-8'd New York, like I said on the Underground, pretty clearly. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a bit, because I'm sure every podcast mentioned it. But that Chael episode, just not feeling it.
No, it was the whole politics thing that just threw me off guard.
Understandably, and Chael always is the whitest dude when it comes to politics. You're like, shocking, Chael. I'm shocked you went for the whitest Republican answer on any of this. Let's see. Plus, Chael loves Trump so much. He thinks he's so cool. This was 5 years ago. He loved Trump. Back when Trump was doing UFC events, Chael was hyped on him. Let's see. So the skip I did was 5 rounds with Brett Okamoto. It was the episode on July 12th. It was just a fucking Conor Floyd goddamn episode, which is why I'm recommending to skip it. The new co-host. There's a new co-host on that show. It's just I forget his name because it's weird.
I forgot it too.
But anyway, he's been all right. He hasn't been blown. I don't think he's hilarious or interesting necessarily yet, but he's not terrible. But he changed the format and played 5 clips from the Conor Floyd press conference. Rather than because they do 5 whatever rounds or whatever weird bullshit they do. And it was just terrible audio. Fucking horrible, because they used the audio they recorded in the building for the fucking audio of the clips, since they owned that audio. Which is a terrible goddamn plan, because you can't hear any of it. It's so god-awful.
That's smart.
Yeah, it was really, really brutal. Just not a great segment overall. They were just recapping the same bullshit everyone else was. If you want to hear a more interesting version of the recap of the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather press conferences, I recommend the Sherdog Network. God, what was it? I think it was the Friday. What's today? Today's July 14th episode of Beatdown. They had a real good breakdown with Ant Walker and Mike Fridley, and also there was a God, who else did a breakdown of this that I just listened to? It was shit. I just listened. Oh, it was Josh Gross and Jeff Sherwood on the on the Outsiders podcast, which you guys can find on Patreon. Again, links in the description for all this. But both of those are, I think, much funnier and much more interesting breakdowns. And I was just kind of annoyed by how bad that audio was. Kind of ruined the segment. Plus, you're literally just playing back audio and talking about it.
Yeah,
it's rough. So why don't you get us into the podcast you think people shouldn't miss this week or can't miss?
For me, it was Sean Funky and the Baddest Man.
Good episode.
I like this one a lot, because Sean, Ben, and Joe kind of all had not on every topic, but a lot of them had differing opinions.
Yeah.
On certain things.
Well, Ben fucking hates the UFC, and Joe isn't really mad at the UFC.
He's just a little indifferent.
Yeah. And Sean hates Bellator.
Yeah, what do they say? Yoel didn't use his explosive technique to his advantage, and he didn't use wrestling as much as he should have.
Yep.
I remember me and you, when we watched that fight last week, I think me and you both gave those first 2 rounds to Yoel, and then the last 3 were to Whitaker, which is why it was a 48-47 unanimous. I believe actually all across the board, 48-47. So, they said...
actually, I rewatched that. I give 4 or 5 to Whitaker.
Okay.
I gave the first round to Whitaker again.
Oh, yeah.
So I just rewatched it yesterday, and it was a close round, but I think Whitaker did way more, even despite the fucking knee damage.
I know Joe was talking about folk style and freestyle wrestling differs in ability to hold people down.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up.
hearing about that. Yeah, because he talked about when he was in, was it college? I think, and in high school, too.
Yep.
There'd be some opponents where they'd utilize... certain wrestling styles. I think he's like Greco.
That's what Joe specialized in.
And he's like, fuck, this person, I can't, either get off my back or this guy keeps holding me down. I need to do something different.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think the way they described it was Ben was actually the one that pointed out that Yoel wasn't like a freestyle wrestler. I mean, more specifically like a folk style. So he's not great at top control. And Joe Warren then commented like, oh yeah, dude, when I was mainly doing Greco, when I went back to freestyle or folk, even after I had done that like for years as a kid, I still was just getting whooped on early in my MMA career because I was just so used to Greco grappling that I would get people down, but then they'd pop right back up because I wouldn't have any top control. So I thought that was super interesting point.
They said, why the fuck is Michael Bisping ripping up the Cuban flag? Very disrespectful and unnecessary. I agree. I agree. It's
but
dumb.
Joe Warren would do it if he was fighting a Cuban.
Bisping was just setting himself up.
Actually, I don't even know if Joe Warren would.
Probably not. Because I remember the day after that, Yoel, it was pretty funny little Instagram video. He had a picture of Michael Bisping, and had lit up his cigar. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. It was goofy.
They said they think Bisping has no place to talk shit to Whitaker or Romero right now because Bisping had initially turned down his fight with Romero in the beginning. Yes, I agree. Bisping, please just sit down and heal.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. His fight against Whitaker, I think, is going to be more competitive than people think it will be.
Yeah, they actually didn't even know Bisping was injured in that episode. Like, I guess they didn't know, because Ben was like, why don't you just fight? But yeah, he's out because of his name.
They said any place for interim belts in the UFC. I think someone said fuck no. I think it was Joe that said why not, because it shows who the real contender is. In my opinion, interim belts should only be there if a champion hasn't fought for about a year.
I say you strip the champion if they haven't fought for about a year.
For a year. Yeah.
But that is on like fucking theoretical, like what's best case scenario shit. Honestly, these dudes get paid championship money if they fight an interim belt, and that's
why I kind of support interim belts.
I never shit on interim belts. I mean, let me clarify. I always shit on interim belts. I don't ever shit on anyone taking an interim belt fight.
Yeah, because they need that money. They deserve it.
And they should be getting paid that anyway if they're that high in the rankings. So I'm always gonna back anyone for taking an interim belt.
One fight I'll have to watch again was Verdum versus Overeem 3. They were wondering why was the scoring considered controversial. Initially, at the end of that fight, I said Overeem on this. I don't know if you would agree. I think you had agreed with me, but I couldn't really figure out why. I think he just had more control.
Yeah, I went back and rewatched it. This fight's super close to a draw because Verdum almost 10-8 the last round, but he definitely was.
Yeah, because on that note, it was great. Sean Wheelock was saying a 10-9 means you lost that round, obviously. However, he said how can you consider a 10-8 when kicking a field goal from the 1 or from the 40 is the same result? That is like a 10-9.
Yeah.
So he might as well just give him the 10-9 because he didn't think it was too obvious that it was a 10-8.
That's the argument, and it's close, man. You could really go
because
either way.
Because if it was a 10-8, would have been a tie, right? Because I know one of the judges scored it, and one of the judges scored it. What was it, 1919, something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, one of them gave it a tie, which I would have done as well.
Because remember I told you, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I wouldn't give him a Verdun the victory. I would either a tie or victory for Overeem.
They're 28-28, I think. Is what
oh yeah. They said, why did Verdun... I'm thinking of The Ultimate Fighter with the 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
which they don't even do anymore, or at least they didn't last season.
Yeah.
Although then again, they paid dudes $10,000.
No, they do 2 rounds, and then remember the third.
No, they did third guaranteed last season.
No. That's when they got to the semis. Remember? Because that's when they started doing thirds, right?
I think
you might. Or am I thinking of the older seasons I was watching?
I don't remember.
Who knows?
Honest. I know they paid him $10,000 a fight though, so I know those ones were.
Either way, they said, why did Verdun go with a level change when he had Overeem against the fence? They think Stipe is smiling right now and very eager to fight anyone because he thinks Stipe would smoke both of these guys again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too, at this point. They said, where's the depth? Is he going to wait for Kane? He's still hurt, like always, unfortunately. So I think, they didn't mention this, but in my opinion, the only logical step next is if Ngannou finishes JDS, you just give Ngannou to Stipe for excitement.
I think you give either one of them to Stipe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's the fucking heavyweight division, man.
I wish DC would go back up.
Yeah, I've been saying that forever. But then again, like, yeah, and to be fair, he's almost blowing away at 205 sometimes. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised
if he wasn't able to hover on towels.
If DC beats John Jones, do you think he just says fuck it and goes up to heavyweight because he's old and he says fuck the weight cut? Maybe if he loses, he will. Yeah, because that would make more sense.
If he loses, he definitely should.
Yeah.
If he wins...
No, he'll keep fighting.
I think he stays at 205. And
yeah, he'll get Gus.
I don't know if he likes the Gus fight again.
No, because he said the whole time. Yeah.
He's
I think, honestly,
man,
Gus might beat him.
Man.
But then again, that's like saying Jones might beat him, though, because he already beat him before.
Yeah. I don't know. But I don't know what to think of Jones right now. Like... I don't trust that dude at all.
We'll probably talk about that next week. Either way, leading up to 214.
Yep.
I'll get at the end of this episode. They said, was Amanda Nunes faking? They said Dana White said this was all 90% mental and 10% physical. Sinusitis was the cause. Zero empathy from the fight community. I know they were all talking about their experiences dealing with sinus issues in high school, college wrestling.
Yeah, well, also,
and
they're wrestlers. They're not.
And they said
they're
also,
not like boxers.
Has any fighter ever fought at 100% health? Mostly not, probably.
No, but like wrestlers
just
are
ask
different.
Dominic Cruz.
People like Ben Askren and Joe Warren are a different breed of person. Like they're like Justin Gaethje. Like Justin Gaethje isn't gonna pull out because of a head cold. Sometimes they probably should. Sometimes Joe Warren or Ben Askren should probably pull out of fights they take, but they just don't do that. If you think about it too,
like if I was a fighter, if I had the flu, yeah, you got to pull out because then it's going to affect your whole system either way. Like if you're
not if you're Joe Warren or Ben Askren.
Yeah.
They just don't have that in them.
I agree with them.
But
like I think people should fight, but then again, if you do want to fight 100%, I get that too because then you have no excuses if you want to lose.
I mean,
you know what I mean, though?
They're just a different breed of person.
Yeah.
Like people like Joe Warren and Ben Askren and Justin Gaethje, fucking. I think Diego Sanchez is probably one of those too, even though he pulled out one time with food poisoning. I think they're just like, although I think that was forced by the fucking hospital he had to go to or
shitting your
something.
Fucking stomach out.
Even then, I feel like Diego would have gone and didn't stop a couple people.
The funniest thing to me is they said Joe's wife told him the belt has officially gone back to Ronda, and he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" To his wife?
And then Sean Wheelock made a great joke of like, "Oh no, actually it went back to
Gina Carreno,
Magume Fuji."
Yeah,
yeah, it's fucking great.
Then they said Gaethje impressed himself in his performance.
Yeah, they talked about how Warren used to train with him out in Colorado and saw him fight a ton of times. Like, Warren had nothing but super positive shit to say about Justin Gaethje, which was cool.
They just said, unfortunately, they think Gaethje's going to have a short career with his fight style. Probably.
I mean, everyone thinks that, yeah.
How long does his career last? And then at the end, they talked about the UFC Hall of Fame. They said, why not make just called the MMA Hall of Fame? Because that's like saying, obviously, Fedor is going to be the UFC Hall of Fame, but he never fought in the UFC.
Yep.
Sakuraba only fought like once or or twice in the UFC.
And Big John and Art Davey both aren't in.
That's all I got to say about that one. I liked that episode a lot. They had a lot of good references too.
Yeah. Oh, they also joked about how Todd Grisham should be bodied for butchering Kazushi Sakuraga's name. Oh, and actually, Joe Warren told a cool story about an old Sakuraba story from when he fought in Japan, which was rad. Oh, and then Joe cut a promo on the dude he beat the fuck up tonight right before we recorded. I forget the dude's name. Yeah, it was a good episode. Like most of them, though, I really like that show in general. Let's see. So my episode you can't miss for the week is actually kind of an interesting one. TJ DeSantis had a beatdown episode. TJ DeSantis, of course, is the producer of the Sherdog Radio Network, if you guys aren't aware. And he opened his the episode of Beatdown talking about the Invicta card this weekend and how it's gone through 3 main events after losing Megan Anderson and Tanya Evinger. He talked a bunch about how the humongous Invicta card that's happening in August at Tachi Casino, which I kind of want to go to so bad. But Tachi is like fucking middle of California, and I don't know if I want to drive that far.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking 6-hour drive. But it's going to be so fucking cool. But I want to go to Tachi someday, to be fair. Because Tachi has so much fucking history between WEC and Invicta and fucking Tachi Palace fights, all that shit. Let's see. They talk fighter pay and small promotions that didn't last, like Affliction, IFL, that kind of stuff. With I believe he was talking with Ant Walker, the guy who's running the boards for him lately, who's great. He used to be on a podcast. I forget the name of it. He used to do it with a dude named Julian. Fight Nights with a K. But yeah, they talk about how fighter pay in smaller promotions doesn't last, like stuff like Affliction and IFL. Like if you're paying fucking crazy amounts of money, all those organizations generally die off pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
And they even said they couldn't really think of a one that's different than that. And then they had an interesting guest on. They had Mohammed Shahid on, who is the head of Brave Combat Federation, and that is TJ's now the commentator for her. It's run by the head of Bahrain, like it's like funded by the head of Bahrain, the fucking Indian country or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like literally the head of that country funds this promotion. But yeah, this Mohammed Shahid guy was on. He was fucking really interesting. They talked about how they wanted to make MMA more global and take it to like markets that it doesn't normally see. Let's see which ones. They mentioned stuff like they want to go to Bahrain, Brazil, Mumbai, Kazakhstan, Russia, like just like countries that you don't see a lot of big shows in. It's just kind of interesting, all the stuff they talk about. They say they're not even interested in making money because the head guy that's funding it, and the head of Bahrain or whatever, I'm butchering the pronunciation of that so bad because I don't want to say Bahrain because Bahrain is wrong, but I'm hitting the H way too hard in Bahrain.
It's Bahrain.
Bahrain.
I don't know.
Bahrain. That was too loud. Anyway, yeah, so he is, the head guy of that country is, got super into jiu-jitsu. He's actually had a couple MMA fights, and he, wanted to start a promotion just, like, to kind of promote the sport.
That's cool.
And he has money to blow.
I dig it.
So he's just, like, wants to bring it everywhere. And they're bringing up a ton of young talent, and guys are sleeping on him. And TJ DeSantis is now commentating that organization. Their next fight card actually happens down in TJ.
Oh shit!
Yeah, TJ's commentating in TJ. If you didn't pick up on that, so that'll be I don't know. He got me pretty hyped about the promotion. He just seems super genuine, and he just kept saying over and over, like, all we care about is getting the sport out there and helping these smaller countries like Mexico and the Middle East and stuff like that to just get like actual fighters fights because they're having trouble doing that. It was really cool. And just an interesting take you really don't hear a lot. Like, you don't hear from those small promotions heads unless they're saying, like, super homophobic shit and dissing Nike. Like, shouts out to...
or attacking, like, top brands.
Yeah, like, shouts out to ACB, who's like, we don't want to be with Nike because they support gay people, and they should all, like...
Typical Russia.
Burn in hell, except... I forget what they said. They should, like, suck dicks in hell or something really, really awful. It was bad. It was worse than that, actually. I just can't remember what the actual phrasing was. It was really bad. The head of that is a piece of shit, and the guy who funds ACB is also a piece of shit. That's the Kadzin Zimmer. I'm gonna butcher. I don't even know how to pronounce his fucking name, and I don't have it in front of me, but a super crazy dictator out in Chechnya that's like fucking an asshole.
Who Verdum's friends with.
Yeah, that guy. That fucking piece of shit. Shouts out to Ali Abdelaziz. Fucking Jesus. I make fun of Malkikawa. Malkikawa's not friends with dictators who threaten to kill gay people. So...
he's got that going for him.
Yeah. Like, I really hope that whoever that guy is and Manny Pacquiao just, like, fucking play Russian roulette until they both die. Like, I hope it's some kind of crazy dual suicide where they just body each other.
Oh, why not?
They're fucking terrible people. And it makes me so bummed out because I really like ACB as a promotion. They're great, but that dude's a fuckface. Also, HBO's Real Sports is doing they do like a show every week, like Real Sports, like a big
with like Brian Gumble kind of thing.
I don't know if it's actually Real Sports. Maybe I'm just saying that because that's what I say when I say HBO. They do like a story each week on like a certain thing. And
no, that is totally HBO stuff.
Okay.
Like Real Sports, Brian Gumble.
Yeah, so they're doing one on that dude.
Oh, cool.
And it's and Kareem Zidane is on it, who's the guy who's like always shitting on how fucked up that guy is. So it's gonna be real good.
Should be a war of words.
It should be. Well, not even that. They're not gonna get the guy on it. I'm sure they're just gonna butcher him for being a piece of shit. Because the guy shit on Nike. It was like, Nike, we don't want to work with you because you support all the faggots. He did use the word faggot. I remember that. Real dick. Shouts out to Floyd Money Mayweather, who also used the word faggot
Yeah, way
today.
to go, shithead.
Just such a dick move. Like, everyone was trying to like you, and then you got, like, Jesus.
If beating women wasn't enough for us to dislike you, you had to go ahead and say faggot today.
For real. So why don't we go ahead? Is there what other shows did you hear that you like?
A couple that I'll mention real quick. Co-main event. They said, should we call him Justin Gaethje or Goetje?
Yeah.
They said Gaethje is a guy who says after he's done fighting wants to give back to people who are in need of help. So he's a so-called humanitarian who wants to go ahead and donate and help out people in
he's a real good dude.
third world countries and people that are underprivileged.
Well, unfortunately, he came from a really poor
he has like
area.
a degree in some sort of social issues kind of thing.
Yeah, I think he's like basically has a degree in social
And
work.
he's from one of the most blue-collar cities in the United States, Safford, Arizona, where they're all... Basically, the whole town lives on the copper mines.
Yeah, he was talking about that in Ariel's show, I believe.
Yeah.
They also mentioned on that show that Bisping and Ewell are both Bond villains.
Yes,
I
like that.
Fucking amazing.
They said Bisping is a Bond villain who has 3 possible rivalries. They said if Bisping loses to Robert Whittaker, Romero is definitely next. And yes, I hope so.
Yeah, and they also asked if Bisping is a Bond villain and Ewell is a Bond villain, does that make Robert Whittaker James Bond?
Yeah.
Kind of does. Kind of does. A little bit. He's all smarmy and cute and fucking goofy, but like also fucks everyone up. Well, he's got a little Sean Connery to him.
Yeah. The only other thing I'll mention real quick, lastly for me, is Anik and Florian. I loved how James Vick was on there. That guy
James Vick is
real
fired
fucking
up.
Vexed
Yeah.
the whole episode, and
He's fired up.
I see why. I mean, he needs to fight top 10 talent. He's the biggest lightweight on the roster. 6'3" is still insane to cut that much weight. I hope he doesn't die.
Yep.
Angie Overkill Hill was on there. She talked about she's glad to be in San Diego for the last 2
talked about how
years.
she loves the weather.
Yeah, she's willing to fight anyone. Love that mentality.
Yeah, and she says she likes a lot of the matchups in the division for her. I've been saying that for a while.
And then Anik and Florian, Ray Longo stopped by, said he thinks Amanda Nunes pulled out the fight due to vaginitis. All right, we've heard that before. That's keeping it classy, Ray Longo. Your East Coast bullshit.
I mean, there's a certain breed of person that like they don't understand how pulling out of fights works. Like they're like, no, you got one leg, you're fighting on one leg, fucker.
Yeah. And then they ended to talk about Jesse Taylor's story of redemption. So I also listened to Heavy Hands too, but that was kind of the one thing I liked from that. is how they said Whitaker's only 26 years old, and he turns 27 in December, has many years of success to come.
Yeah, they're super high on Robert
Justin
Whitaker.
Gaethje fights just like Rocky Marciano, the legendary boxer who retired 49-0.
Yep.
So yeah.
They also actually talked a bit on that episode about how they talked super reasonably first off about Amanda Nunes pulling out.
Yep.
And were like very realistic about it, which was nice to hear because it was just basically them and the MMA and the outsiders.
Yeah, they said if you feel sick and can't fight, don't. It's your body. It's how you feel.
Yeah, and also the
I think that's fair too.
The doctor that cleared her to fight was like a blood test and a fucking piss test. It wasn't like, oh, how's your sinuses, bro? Let's see. They broke down the Romero and 213 fights. They mentioned Whitaker became an Aussie national champ in wrestling this year.
No wonder why he has amazing takedown defense.
Fucking insane. They're super high on him. And Pat Wyman mentions that he wants to pitch Robert Whitaker on... Okay, so we all know Robert Whitaker hates the name Bobby Knuckles because it sounds so goofy and a little kiddish. So Pat Wyman wants to pitch him on the Honorable Robert Knuckles.
Oh, yeah. They said just don't call him Bob.
Yeah, Bob Nux is not his preferable one. But yeah, the Honorable Robert Knuckles with a U in honorable because it's Australian. I'm super in. I'm super on board. And then they talked about Gaethje Johnson and break down the Gunnar and Ponzinibbio fights quickly. Let's see, some of the ones I listened to, we covered a couple of them already. Luke Thomas had a live chat, which he talked a lot about the McGregor-Mayweather press conference, and he had the best, as far as I'm concerned, reaction to the Floyd Mayweather boy thing, where he's like, listen, it's not racist, but all the Europeans that are saying it's just the word boy need to calm the fuck down. Yeah. Like, it's absolutely unacceptable to tell other people what words are acceptable in their country because there's a very specific history where there's Martin Luther King quotes saying, don't call me boy as my middle name. Yeah. Like, literally quotes from him in jail saying, don't call me boy as my middle name. And people keep arguing on forums and shit with me like, oh, the word boy's not racist, bro. It's like, fucking MLK is saying don't use my first name as nigger and my middle name as boy when I'm a grown man.
You just can't do it.
It's so upsetting that people are that.
Yeah, like if it's not brutal. Offensive to you, doesn't mean it's not offensive to them. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know, like,
well, and it's one of those things like,
real.
Yo, motherfucker means something different in Brazil than it does here. Like, it means, like, more of a literal, like, you fuck your mother kind of thing.
No, it's 10 times worse there.
And Brazilians get, like, real mad about it.
Yeah, I remember...
it doesn't mean that once I hear that they're mad about it, I can keep doing it because it means something different to me. Like, that's the most insane
argument I remember one of the embeddeds I saw, I think it was the UFC event where Verdum fought Brown.
Yeah, it was Verdum that freaked the fuck out.
Edmund. Someone called Verdum a motherfucker.
Yeah, that's
and
when
he was just like, he
just
snapped his head, dude, like...
I think that was when Verdum
front kicked him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's like, what? Motherfucker? With his voice all cracking and it's like, no, not acceptable. And
and Luke Thomas just had a great point. Like, yo, you can't tell other countries what words are they should ignore. Yeah. Because there's a certain fucking history that you have to understand, and it's fucking. I've just been seeing so many people from the UK being like, it's just the word boy. You guys fucking American pussy liberals. Fucking put your nanny state. Can't fucking handle bad words.
Typical ignorant fat American.
Like, I had a bunch of people telling me I'm a frightened bitch who hates bad language. I'm like, sure. You've clearly never read anything or heard anything I've ever said. I say horrible things all the time.
Coming from the country who loves to use the word cunt and twat.
I literally
double
use that
negative.
Reference. I was like, yo, when I call you cunt, it's not the way you're calling your friends a cunt.
Yeah, it's way more worse in the States.
Yeah. He's like, well, I don't really care about words. It's like, neither do I, bro. I'm just saying, the words have context differently in different places. I don't know. I got so tired of hearing that argument. It was really cool hearing Luke Thomas break it down super succinctly and like not being a dick like I was being about it. But God, man, people are fucking white people telling other people how they should feel about goddamn language that was used to oppress them is real upsetting. Like, I think I heard Eugene Eugene S. Robinson this week say, I'd rather be on the side of people being overly sensitive to racist shit than be on the side that's underly sensitive to racist shit. I'm like, yeah, I can see that. Glory Kickboxing podcast was good. I'm not going to talk about it because it's not MMA. Talked a little bit about Mayweather McGregor, but it was just cool to hear. Oh, shit. I totally forgot about our new segment. Our new segment is where I mention a new MMA show I've heard this week. I listened to the MMA Curmudgeons. It's Jonathan Snowden's show with his co-host Ryan Loco. John Snowden, if you guys don't know, he's like a longtime MMA reporter. A lot of people don't like him. I know he has a weird, sketchy history and like
probably because his last name is Snowden.
No, it's not just that. He has like a weird, crazy history in MMA, and a lot of people are fucking annoyed by him. He's definitely not a Dana ass kisser either, which doesn't help generally with shitty fans online. But it's an interesting show. They talk a lot about Floyd to Conor. They ask why people would deal with LA traffic to go to it. I thought it was fucking insane that you would sit in traffic to go listen to fucking Floyd and Conor yell at each other on stage.
Yeah.
They talk a lot about the dumb reactions to what boxing conferences are like. And they're like, yeah, this is how boxing works.
AKA Showtime cutting Conor's mic.
No, just like people being like, oh, why are they doing speeches? Why are they taking turns? You're like, you've never seen a box.
Because it's all scripted.
Well, no, it's because they've never seen a fucking boxing press conference. That's what every one of them has looked like since the fucking 20s. Like, it's the most insane shit.
Look at all Ali's classic fights.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, they guessed that they were going to have some kind of altercation in New York, which is not far off. They talked about how weird it was that Floyd pulled out a $100 million check. Like, yo, how long have you been holding on to that check? Because aren't checks only good for like 90 days or 120 days? And like, they had a bunch of fucking
some are good for like a year, but that's it.
Yeah, but still, yeah. And like, also, like,
no one's gonna zoom in on what that check says. You could say to Floyd, 100 million from mom or some shit.
If you just put that in the bank, you're making more money than you are by holding on to it. Yeah. Like, it's kind of silly. And Ryan Loco talks about being at the PFL event since he's one of the cage side photographers. So he talked about the that event that PFL did with John Fitch in the rain at the NASCAR event. And I thought that was kind of cool. I actually have a kind of part 2 of the new podcast I listened to. It's a quick one, though. Just Fight Society is Damon Martin's podcast. Used to be on Fox Sports, but they let everyone go from Fox Sports that was a writer. So Damon Martin had started a new feed. He's got a new feed up on iTunes now. This was the episode he actually put out on YouTube.
Oh, he was the guy I looked for like about half a year ago, and he wasn't available because he got fired. And like you just said, he just started up now.
Yeah,
I remember I tried looking for him about last year, and there was nothing. He had canceled his shit.
Yeah, he's a good dude, and he talked a little bit about the Fox Sports stuff and how weird it is. And his new show's out on iTunes, still called the Fight Society podcast. If you just Google or you search Fight Society, their new episode is up. I haven't heard the new one. I heard the one they did on YouTube specifically that was just kind of like breaking down like, hey, lost our feed, obviously, working on getting it up. I talked a bit about the Fox's departure, talked about 213 and 214 and people pulling out. They mentioned Mauro Ranello's early podcast he did like way back in the day. Because he used to have one, one of the first ones right after Ryan Bennett and TJ. Let's see. Kevin Lee calls in, and Barboza calls in.
Oh, nice.
So it was a pretty cool episode. I recommend people checking it out. I will actually listen to their next episode as well, because I want to actually give a little bit more of attention to it, since I'm actually a week behind on it. So I'll talk about it again, but I did want to bring it up. And I think the only other thing I wanted to mention was Robin Black does have a new show that he's doing on his YouTube channel called After the Hostilities, which is
I saw a recommendation for that when I was on YouTube.
Yeah, that's his recap show that he's doing, where he basically just after the shows doing a breakdown of like how it went, and I haven't checked it out yet, but it's on my list. And the only other thing I wanted to mention was FRB this week. Front Row Brian tweeted out a picture of himself with John Jones. And he said, hey, look at my friend Super Callow having dinner with John Jones. So I'm officially confused. I think we were actually retweeted that this week. I'm confused as to whether Front Row Brian is just trolling that he's Super Callow at this point or whether he actually is. Because for the longest time I thought he was, but now he's getting so obvious, it's starting to throw me.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just a weird... I know he's a weird ginger, and Super Callow's a weird ginger. And there was a weird ginger in the picture with John Jones, and John Jones said it was Front Row Brian. So
Checks out.
And then Front Row Brian tweeted from Super Callow's account to Front Row Brian, wrong account.
Clearly it's a con job, or just
I don't know what's happening anymore. It's crazy, so... That is, we'll wrap our first segment there, but a weird weekend podcast. It feels like 8 years since the, Gaethje card last weekend. Yeah. It's been the longest.
I've already rewatched that like 5 times.
Yeah. I rewatched it a handful too. It's so good. Yeah, it's been a weird, crazy long week, and, oh man, I feel like this whole next month or two is going to be real wild. But we'll go ahead and wrap this segment here. You guys will. Oh shit! I forgot to mention. Beginning of this episode, you heard Snoop Dogg saying weird Martin Luther King references about the UFC. This next segment, you're going to hear more weird Snoop Dogg quotes. If you guys didn't catch the Snoopcast on UFC Fight Pass for the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender series, you should absolutely do that. I'm actually going to make Chris watch a little bit of it here in a minute, just so we can hear some of the fucking chaos, and we will be back after this goes.
Just under 12 seconds left in the first round. He's trying to choke the dog shit out of him.
Head and arm choke. Short time.
He gonna make it.
Oh, he's out! He passed out. That happened quick. That's what we talked about. Remember the blood choke? So you have two carotid arteries that feed blood to the brain. You don't feel anything. It shuts off the blood.
Wow!
And you pass out.
You explained that to me, and I couldn't believe it till I seen it.
Isn't that crazy? I think maybe we should...
He busted a windmill with a nutcracker? Oh, no.
All right, we are back. I am opening up a Four Sons Surf City Pale Ale, since they are out of Surf City. I believe that's Venice, right?
Yeah, brought to you by learntopour.com.
Yeah, I butchered that pour really bad. So I was trying to read where the stupid beer, what city the stupid beer is from. Huntington Beach, duh. I knew Venice was wrong. I just couldn't figure it out while I was pouring. So instead, I poured a half glass of foam into this Resonant Brewing cup. Shouts out to their fucking unfiltered IPA.
That was real solid.
It's real good. If you guys are ever in San Diego, check out the Resonant Brewing unfiltered IPA. It's tropical and solid. Anyway, we are gonna we were gonna recap the entire last weekend's cards, but those seem like forever ago. So Chris, why don't we just quickly talk Gaethje fucking Johnson? Jesus Christ. We watched this at shouts out to Tap House in Claremont.
Yeah, Balboa's Tap House. Great area. Great place to watch fights.
Incredible beer selection. What, they always have, like, I think 30 on tap?
Yeah. And they
right around there, like 25 to 30?
Discounts on a lot of solid, popular choices, too.
Yeah. Well, and the guys who work there are fucking awesome. Like, they gave us the giant hookup on flights, which was legit. I had a 2015 Kentucky Bourbon Stout. I had the...
like one of those 13% or something?
Yeah, like I had two. I had the 2016... what is it? The breakfast stout from BCBS from... Or no, is it one of the breakfast stouts? It was fucking insane.
I know Founders has a really good breakfast.
Yep, we had that bomb sour. We had the what's the name? The Sophie from that
Goose
one
Island.
place, Goose Island. Yep. We had the fucking. Oh man, so many good beers. Yeah. Oh, the fucking
Boulevard's Blonde.
Boulevard Blonde or the Boulevard Kolsch.
Kolsch, yeah.
And the fucking really good Belgian beer.
I had some. The Belgian Dark Ale beer.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. It's from the. No, I keep trying to say La Folie. That's wrong. That's New Belgium. It's not Fantôme. What's that?
It wasn't Amagang, right?
No. Alma Gang had a great fucking beer too, though. Man, I can't remember the name.
Anyways,
Delirium.
Yeah,
Delirium Nocturnum.
Delirium. Yep, Nocturnum. There
It's
you go.
fucking great beer. Anyway, my point is, go to that place. It's fucking awesome. Also, they show the cards for free. Every fucking fight card. Just be sure to RSVP because that shit gets packed. But tell Steve I sent you, and he'll hook you the fuck up. And I'll buy you a beer. Anyway, it's that place is great, and we went there to watch that Gaethje fucking fight. Holy shit, man! Like, that's exactly how I thought that fight was gonna go. But good God, did he get clipped bad a couple times early in that fight?
Yeah, I mean that's what his style kind of welcomes. He welcomes.
That's what he thrives in. Yeah,
he welcomes people to throw at his forehead as he covers up and just keeps pressing forward. I said last week I didn't think he would survive this fight. I really did.
He almost didn't a couple times.
I really did feel he'd get knocked out by Michael Johnson because he was inviting that kind of violence. But either way, goddamn hats off to Justin Gaethje just arriving in the UFC in fucking great fashion, getting that finish too.
Classic Gaethje fashion, and I love that all the fucking fans on Twitter are like, "Oh, everybody hype on Justin Gaethje." It's like, where the fuck have you guys been? Go watch any of his fights. They all look exactly like this. Like, you and me watched the WSOF Palmino 2 card at whatchamacallit also, Tap House.
Yeah.
And it's just, oh god, his fights are so good. Just nobody watched the WSOF, so they weren't aware.
He's currently now ranked the newly mint number 6 lightweight in the world.
Yep. And he's fighting the number, what?
3, Eddie Alvarez. Yeah.
Well, 8 months from now or whenever that actually fucking happens.
Well,
but
these toughs, what is it? Usually they'll have it in December, actually. Yes, so it'll be 5 months from now. They always have the fight.
He has a 6 months. Well, actually, he has a 6 month suspension, but a lot of times they drop that if it's like a.
All I remember is that the fall season you always fight in December.
That makes sense. Yeah, because they always do that.
They'll probably have it like December 30th.
They always do that.
They'll probably like a New Year's
weekend.
card.
No, it'll be like the weekend before. It'll be like one of those weekends in December.
But yeah, they expect to see him fight within the last 2 weeks of December for sure, 100%.
Yeah, and that'll be a fucking awesome fight, dude. Him and Eddie Alvarez. Oh my god, like talk about a goddamn barn burner. Like, there's no way both dudes don't bludgeon the shit out of each other.
Who do you like in that fight too, real quick? Dude, I almost kind of like Gaethje just because of his chin. And I know Alvarez his chin too, and he throws violently as well.
So I like Gaethje because of his leg kicks.
Ooh, yeah.
The thing is Eddie Alvarez is going to try and fucking pedice him. He's going to do it. Like, he's going to try and put his back against the cage the entire time. Problem is, you can't really walk at Justin Gaethje like that.
Because he's the one who walks at you.
And he'll chew your fucking legs apart. Because he's going to bang you with ugly fucking shots and then slam you with leg kicks.
So this is like one of those way too soon scenarios. Say he finishes Alvarez. What's next?
I think there's a good possibility for that. He wants Tony. I think it's probably Tony. Or I should say Tony or Habib.
Because I just saw today Habib says he no longer wants to fight against Tony.
I saw that too. But I also saw that Tony and Habib were somewhat confirmed.
I still think that fight's going to happen 100%. It has to.
Yeah, well, because Connor's not going to be back by the end of the year.
No.
Because Connor even said at one point, like, oh, I realized I'm not going to... The Forbes list only goes from July till July. So... I don't know why he's so British. So he fucking isn't really that interested in fighting December anymore.
He wants to make that fucking list.
I'll do it. And you're like, all right, bro. Well, I'll have to get knocked the fuck out by Mayweather. Probably not, but there goes half our listenership. Actually, I'm just kidding. Most of our listenership is asleep on the bed over there. So,
hello, iTunes.
That's right. Shouts out. We should mention we're officially on iTunes, bitches.
Yeah, I guess we've made it, right?
Yeah, we're also on Stitcher. We're on fucking Google Play and every other podcast provider.
Ooh, we need to get on Spotify.
We can't get on Spotify because Spotify's applications are not open to the public.
That makes sense. Because it's an exclusivity thing.
Yep. However, I have applied nonetheless because there's like a workaround where you can apply. So we applied for Spotify. We'll see if we ever show up in it. I do know we are officially live on iTunes and Google Play, though.
Fuck yeah.
Or actually, I don't know that we're live on Google Play, but they sent me an email. We'll be up today when we're recording this, so we should be good. But yeah, check that out. Subscribe. Fucking 5-star rating, all that dumb shit podcasts say. Anyway, Yeah, that fucking Gaethje fight was awesome. It was exactly what I wanted, and I'm so glad to see that guy win because he's just such a monster, and he works his ass off, and it's good to see. I really like that guy.
He lived up to his own hype. He said, "I'm the most violent lightweight on the planet."
Well, and everyone knew that who's seen him fight. Yeah, like that's
violent and taking damage and giving it up and dishing it back out.
He's never had a fight that didn't look like that. It hasn't ever happened. Well, I've watched his whole career, or at least all the publicly available shit on his career. It's never happened where he didn't have a fight like that. It's just what he does. It's fucking wild. Anyway, yeah, everybody go follow Justin Gaethje on Twitter and fucking hype that dude because you should be. 213 was weird. We already talked about most of it. Fucking Verdum. We talked about Verdum over him and who we thought won. We talked about main event. So we're not going to get too deep into that card. I mean, I feel like we didn't we did like 500 on picks around that. I think, or at least I did. I don't know how you did on it.
Oh, as far as like how
I think most of our picks were the same for those cards, but yeah, I know.
I think we actually ended up tying each other.
Yeah,
we were end result.
I think we were pretty close. Yeah, so we'll actually do some more legit ones next week. I'll actually record all our shit and actually update whether or not we were right. But I guess that wraps that. I guess the only other thing I really wanted to talk about this week was, in terms of recapping stuff, was the fucking Tuesday Night Contender series. I love this fucking show. Dude,
it was great.
To be fair, I love local MMA shit, like in lower level MMA, especially when they're trying to make it to a big show, because motherfuckers show up. Like, everybody is showing up. There's no like, oh, I'm gonna fucking eke out some kind of feeling on this. People show the fuck up, and it's pretty dope. And that's exactly what happened on that card. Here, let me pull up the actual results so I remember everybody's motherfucking name. I remember the first fight not getting a lot of hype, which was funny when I later learned that fucking Dana White didn't show up till halfway through it. But Joby Sanchez got the win over Manny Vasquez. Just kind of a solid decision. He just won positionally and wasn't able to get any kind of real damage off, but constantly won position, constantly got the back. And I don't know, impressive win. Charles Byrd got the arm triangle over Jamie Pickett. That was a pretty nasty
submission, especially with those 5 seconds left in the round.
Super nasty, and it was deep as shit. And it was hilarious. Me and Chris just listened to the Snoop version of it, which is underrated.
It was good. I liked it.
It was kind of underrated.
Better than I thought it would be.
It would have been shit if it wasn't for Uriah. Like, Uriah really saved it because Uriah was just teaching Snoop how fighting works the entire time, and Snoop was just making funny comments. It worked. It's a pretty good combo, actually. I was surprised. But yeah, Charles Byrd got that arm triangle, and Uriah talks about how he was literally teaching Snoop how arm triangles work right before the card, or the day before, I guess. So, pretty funny. Let's see. Boston Salmon, I believe that's his name. It might be Boston Salmon. I'm not positive. I apologize.
We'll go with Salmon.
This motherfucker has hands.
Some of the best boxing I've seen.
Yeah, he said he grew up in Hawaii on Waianae, right? His family's friends with Max Holloway's family. They don't come out of the same gym, but they did train together a bunch as kids and were on the same cards and stuff.
So, would you say at the end of the day, his boxing won him the fight?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, his boxing won the shit out of that fight. Yeah, he pieced Ricky Tercios apart. Ricky was tough as nails coming out of Alpha Male. It's funny hearing Uriah kind of like,
let's go, Ricky.
Yeah, like
let's go.
Literally cornering Ricky from the booth, which is always a weird feel. It's like some old fucking WEC style shit, but it was kind of cool. And Ricky hung in there. He's tough as nails, fucking kid. Kid's super tough.
But he took massive punishment.
Dude, Boston Salmon or Boston Salmon, I really
Let's just call him Salmon.
I think it's Salmon.
I know, but I'm just going to call him Salmon.
All right, Boston Salmon is the tastiest of East Coast fishes. Was on fire, and that dude's boxing looks so fucking sharp, and his takedown defense was on point. And after the fight, he even mentioned to Dana, Dana's like, I heard your leg is fucked up. He's like, yeah, it's worthless. So if that dude was able to use that kind of boxing and that kind of footwork on one wheel,
I can't wait to see more from Boston George from Below. This guy has a lot of potential.
Yeah, absolutely he does. That's Boston George from...
That's it. I'm sorry, I kept thinking about just Boston,
right.
Boston George. I don't know.
That's right, Boston the Pink Salmon. All right. So Zoo took on Greg
Zuna
Rebella.
Anyawu.
Yeah, I believe he goes by Zoo.
It makes sense because I probably butcher his name as everyone else does.
Yeah, and I know one of the guys on the Underground was calling him Zoo and was teammates with him. Took on Rebello, got the KO in the second off a nasty right hand.
Pretty bro, that overhand right.
Yeah, that first round was a little rough. A lot of
Rebello, I think, won.
A lot of heavyweight
round.
Circling. It was close.
Barely.
Rebello won, but his back was against the cage the whole time, which is always weird for a heavyweight fight. It's hard to win. I feel like, especially at heavyweight, it's hard to win circling against the cage because you're like your activity's so low, and it makes the forward pressure look worse. But yeah, Zoo got that knockout in the second, and there was no question about that. That dude was out. Then Kurt Hollabaugh, Matt Bessette. Matt Bessette's a fucking gamer, but Jesus Christ, Kurt Hollabaugh. That motherfucker just came forward throwing
very impressed.
bombs.
Very impressed by Hollabaugh, and his Snoop called it. He was throwing hollabows.
Yeah, I thrown them holla back, hollabo.
That's right.
As Snoop kept saying, and yeah, it was fucking insane. I'm a fan. I'm excited to see what he does next. I've seen him fight. I believe what was he at before? He's at Titan or something. Yep. Yeah, Titan. And he's been killing dudes.
That dude's a featherweight.
Yeah, he's
probably lightweight now. 5'11".
Yeah, I'm not sure what his last one was at. He could have also stepped up and weight for this fight. A lot of people do for that series. It seems like.
Shouts out to his sponsorship from Chegg.
That's right, Chegg, bro.
Yeah, I remember I ordered textbooks from them online. They gave me a free can of Red Bull.
That's right.
Why not?
Chegg that Red Bull. Yeah, Kurt Hollabaugh, though, just fucking dope-ass, dope fight, and I was impressed, man, overall. Let's see. Wow, this Bellator card is fucked up on, and...
Trying to see
what is happening on this. Remember. I don't even know what's I'm looking at the Bellator card on Sherdog, and it's completely fucked. Did Brittany Elkin and Amanda Bell not fight?
I remember 10-11 for sure.
Did Brittany Elkin and Amanda Bell get pushed to the fucking after the finale? And Justin Lawrence too? Because this is all fucking over the place. What is happening? Sorry, I'm looking at the Sherdog page, and it's fucking...
They've done this before.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially for weird cards like this. Anyway, I only wanted to point out a couple. Rafael Lovato Jr. got a humongous fucking win by RNC over Mike Rhodes. Of course, Rafael Lovato Jr. coming off that 13-second finish off of a head kick and a flurry in his last fight. And the humongous BJJ black belt, like long-time contender, bad motherfucker. And he got that super definitive rear naked choke where he just about put the dude out. It was nasty. Romero Cotton got the win. He's a guy that is training out of ATT, a wrestler that people should keep their eyes on. He got the split decision. He basically just was able to get on top and pound Aaron Rodriguez out, but definitely a dude I'd recommend keeping an eye on. Katie Collins got the win over Brenda Vargas. Again, just stayed on top and just kind of beat her up and outworked her. Katie Collins looked good in that fight, though. And Joe Warren fucking grinded out Steve Garcia in a super unanimous 3-round decision. Joe Warren just fucking put the paces on. He even said on the Sean Funky Baddest Man
utilized
podcast.
Ben's wrestling kind of prowess, right?
Yeah, he's like, yo, I need to start doing to people what Ben does to people and just fuck them up mentally with my wrestling. Like, I need to just put the fucking pace on and just wrestle these motherfuckers and get a win. And Joe Warren did exactly that. He just kept getting the back, kept getting a single leg, kept dragging the dude down to the floor and pounding him out, and got a super dominant unanimous decision. Crowd booed the shit out of him. He fucking loved it, and he called out Eduardo Dantes for the trilogy, which I thought was fucking great. Oh, I believe he told Eduardo Dantes, "Hey, Eduardo Dantes, I'm coming to the Brazilian steakhouse where you work, and the green flag is up, motherfucker." Which I thought was the funniest Fogo de Chao reference I've ever fucking heard in my life, and I'm a big fan of it. Emily Ducati got the win over Jessica Middleton. Just basically outpointed her. Middleton seemed like she had some trouble in the exchanges, and Cody just got the better of it. John Salter, Kendall Grove. Holy shit.
This is fun.
This is the one you got here for, right?
Yeah.
And
this came on next right when I got here.
Weird fight. Just in the way that, like, man, I did not see this fight going this way at all. Kendall Grove gets his back taken and gets caught in a choke at, like, a little bit of a weird angle. Like, he's almost basing out of a rear naked choke, but Salter just had it so fucking deep that Kendall goes out bad. Like, out bad. He went out fucking cold for a good second or two. Like, long enough to where Salter stands up, walks away, and then Kendall starts waking up and talking to Big John. It was, man, I like Kendall a lot. He's a really good guy. I've talked to him on Twitter before. It's starting to make me nervous watching him fight just because of the way his fights have been going. And then the last one we saw, because evidently there's some untelevised fucking Bellator fights, which included a lot of the ones I was really looking forward to, like Justin Lawrence versus Tristan Tomlinson, and I really wanted to see Brittany Elkin versus Amanda Bell. So I really like Amanda Bell, and they're both coming off of wins over the same person. So I really wanted to see that. I believe that, or not coming off of, but I believe they either both have wins over the same person. I think that, yeah, they both have wins over the same person, because Amanda Bell's opponent who dropped out had a loss over the same person.
Dude, I just realized that Derek Campos versus Brendan Gertz only one round is like the longest, most violent one.
That shit went 2 rounds.
Oh, I see. It was at the very end of the second round. Oh, that's why I said 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
Because it stopped in between rounds.
They stopped it before the third,
Perfect segue, though. I wanted to talk about how fucking scary that fight was. That shit... We have a number 2 for fight of the year contender.
A fucking like portal in that dude's fucking forehead.
Literally, I think I said it looked like those Reagan posters with the bullet hole in the forehead. Oh, like shit. It was upsetting looking. And yeah, this is a clear number 2 fight of the year contender now.
Yeah, not named Gaethje Johnson.
If your name is not Gaethje or Johnson,
this is Diet Gaethje Johnson right here, folks.
This is Gaethje Johnson that got stopped by a doctor.
Yeah,
from a cut. Like if this fight had kept going, it could be a contender with that fight. Like they were fucking throwing bombs. They kept both hurting each other with giant swinging punches. Great fucking fight, and I believe they fought twice before. And if that's the case, I would watch a fucking 4th one. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, 1, 2. They fought once before.
Yeah.
Wait, only once before? I thought they fought twice before.
Clearly they have to have a trilogy now.
Nope, twice before.
Oh, it is.
So they need a quadrilogy, really, is what I'm saying. Because, man, I believe they're 2-1. I think,
Campos is 2-1.
Yeah, Campos won the first one and the third one.
Yeah.
And then lost via knockout 37 seconds into Brandon in the second. And Campos only won this one because Brandon had such a big hole in his forehead they had to stop it. Like Brandon was not he was fucked up, but that's not like
trading.
They didn't stop it because of how much damage he'd taken. They stopped it because of the fucking cut.
No, he was trading for sure.
So I would I hope they do that fight again. I hope for those dudes' mental health they probably don't. But holy motherfucking shit was that a fight. And yeah, that's the stuff we wanted to recap. Is there anything specifically you want to talk about that we didn't mention? Any fights that you thought were dope on 213 or tough or anything that we didn't get to? Travis Brown.
The only other fight, Travis Brown, as far as him, I think he needs to retire along with his fiancee Rhonda.
Yeah.
She's pretty much already retired.
I don't care to see that.
The only other fight that I enjoyed a lot was Rob Font's performance against that Silva de Andrade guy. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, and Drakkar Close against...
yes. Those are the 2 very good fights that have... I knew some people talked about him, but yeah. Shouts out to Drakkar Close. By the way, I thought he was European because his name is Drakkar. Apparently he's American as fuck.
Super American. Yeah. Out of fucking John Crouch's team, MMA Lab with
Ben Henderson. Yeah. So good things are coming for his way. That shows you absolutely how stacked that lightweight division, even outside the top 15, is. Holy fuck.
Absolutely.
Easily the best division in all the UFC. Yeah. And all of MMA.
Always has been.
All of MMA.
Always has been.
Yeah. Look at Michael Chandler. Well, you know, it just,
155 has always been.
To be fair though, too, I feel like 155 is the easiest. I shouldn't say it's the easiest weight cut. It's the most common weight cut for best.
Well, it's the most common size person.
Yes. Yeah. It's the medium size.
That's why 170 is also really fucking good.
Yeah.
It's because 170 is like the larger size of the best people. You know.
Yeah, I feel like lightweight is like your height. Is from about like 5'9" to like 6'1".
People's weight cutting has gotten so good too that 145 is starting to get in that gap too. Like there's some killers at 145 in a couple divisions.
Fuck, someone kept saying. I know Ferguson has always said he wants to go to 145, which I still think is a little ridiculous.
I don't want that.
I don't want that, but someone else said it too, and it was just as bad. When I remember it, I'll let you know.
Anthony Pettis.
Not him. But
I mean,
it was someone. It's someone that is just as big as Ferguson that says I'll cut to 145 and fuck shit up. I can't remember who it was, but it was kind of very disheartening.
I will bet $1 million it wasn't Khabib.
No.
I was just joking. Anyway.
He'll fight Bisping at middleweight. Remember when he said that last year and we were all hyped on that?
I still think he would win that fight.
Yeah.
I would take Khabib over George St. Pierre. How about that? How about that controversial ass opinion?
No, I think you're absolutely right.
At 185, how about that?
I'd almost take Khabib against George. Maybe.
That's what I just said.
Oh, no, I thought you were saying you take his chances against GSP's chances against Bisping.
No, I'm saying I would take Khabib against George.
Oh, so would I.
At 185.
So would I. Oh, no, so would I.
100%. Even if George was able to swell up to 185, I think Khabib murders him.
Yeah.
Because George's game depends so much on wrestling.
So please, for the love of us fans, Khabib, stay away from tiramisu.
Khabib George, come on.
Stay away from tiramisu.
That's right.
Or, if you want George, eat all the tiramisu you want.
Yeah, you're Canadian. You can do what you like. Weed is cool up there, so enjoy. But yeah, we'll go.
Oh, by the way, shouts out to Canadian Weed. Shouts out to Anthony Rumble Johnson and his business in Canada.
Oh, is his actually in Canada?
Yeah, he's doing it in Canada.
I don't think weed's legal in Canada.
It's about to be. It's on the ballot this fall.
Because I was going to say...
It's totally going to get legalized.
I was going to say,
It's not going to be like that movie Trailer Park Boys did, where it's like called Don't Legalize It, where Ricky goes up there and tries to get them to not legal... You know what I mean? But
it's a great movie.
Yeah, it was fun.
Shouts out Trailer Park Boys.
Shouts out to Leahy on a coke bender.
Yes. Traveling with piss, I believe, in his car.
Yes, and your boy Cyrus.
Yeah, it was. That's a real good one. Yeah. So check out Trailer Park Boys. Shouts out to Michael Johnson references, and we will wrap this segment here. Our next clip will be another Snoop clip because I don't give a fuck. We're doing all Snoop this week because I don't want to use Conor McGregor press clips, or else I'll just use Floyd shitting on Conor, and everybody's gonna get all pissy. So otherwise, it would be "Make It Rain on the Hoe" or the "Point to the Easy Work" quotes. So we are going to have more Snoop talking about crazy shit. I believe our last clip was him getting greenlit to light green.
Yep. Greenlit for the green.
Yeah, he literally got greenlit to light green. So we are going to... Our next clip will be another fucking Snoop one. Maybe of Uriah teaching Snoop how chokes work.
The blood chokes versus the air chokes.
Yes, maybe something like that. It might be a different quote. I haven't broken them out yet because I haven't ripped the audio. So look forward to that. And we will have our final segment here where we'll talk very briefly about a couple fights to look out for on tomorrow night's, or actually when you hear this, tonight's Invicta FC 24 card, and then Sunday's UFC Glasgow card, which is
in Scotland.
Yeah, Gunnar Nelson versus Pozinibbio.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back after that clip. Check it out.
He's a bruiser
and a finisher.
Yeah, that's a dangerous man right there.
Yeah, cruising for a bruiser.
And now Snoop just got what we call the green light, the actual green light.
I got the green light. I just got the green light.
Good J.
I just got the green light, cuz. Oh shit, the Snoopcast.
I'm very sensitive. I'm about to get a
Can we toast to that?
Ding, ding, ding.
All right, we are back after a trip to the taco shopper on the corner And shouts out to again to the Sour Winch from Ballast Point. And speaking of sour winches, we saw our good friend Jana at the taco shop. So this segment is officially sponsored by our crazy friend Jana, who is trashed right now.
Really trashed.
Right. I mean, technically this segment's sponsored by Sour Winch, but she's kind of a sour winch. So
yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it the Jana segment of this week's show.
But we love her for that, so thank you.
That's right. Well, sometimes. She's aight sometimes. Anyway, now that we're done talking about crazies, we're going to get into the... quickly, I want to actually talk about the Invicta FC 24 show. It's taking place in Kansas City between Miliana Dudieva and Mara Romero Barella. As well as we'll eventually touch on the UFC Fight Night 113 Nelson versus Pozinibbio card as well. But I wanted to get into a little bit of these Invicta fights. Chris, what have you heard about this Invicta card? Anything at all?
Let's see, just by looking at the names.
I fucking spilled bright red beer on my carpet, so keep going while I fucking try and...
I've heard of Jinyu Frey and Ashley Cummins. I heard of that matchup mentioned on Reddit a couple of times, as well as the main event, but unfortunately I haven't been in the loop. Sad to say.
So Jinyu Frey, Ashley Cummins, of course, used to be in the UFC. You've seen her fight a couple times. I think she's like 1-2. And Jinyu Frey has been murdering it in Invicta. You've seen her fight there.
Then that's where I know those names. Other than that, no disrespect to these other fighters, but once I get around to watching this card, once it's aired, because I don't know.
Well, and that's how most Invicta cards are. Like, you don't know the names of these girls until they come up and they just put on a motherfucking show. Like,
exactly.
A lot of the girls, especially in Invicta, I feel like you immediately learn someone's name off of one fight sometimes, just because of how the fights go.
Yeah, good point. And once they establish themselves in Invicta, then they usually transition over to the UFC. If they're needed for depth, or they get an opportunity. And just like the flyweight division is shaping up this coming fall, I think you're going to be seeing a lot of these names here in the flyweight and strawweight. Probably more or less so than the flyweight. I kind of feel like it's the one division where it's such an easier cut for the average size female fighter.
Well, and it gives a lot of 115ers a place to go, too, if they thought, like, man, I can barely make 115, but, like, in the UFC, those 115ers are have way crazier cardio. Like, if I don't have to cut that weight, like girls like Chris Stanley, who like she would fight at 135 if you made her, but like she's a 125er to the core. Like she's just like built like a 125er. Like the idea of her making 115 is fucking ludicrous. So yeah, it'll be interesting, and I always feel about Invicta cards is you just don't know the girls until you see them, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is someone I need to watch every fucking fight she does, like a Raquel Paul Louis type, or like Pennington for that matter was one of those girls. There's a lot of them. What's her face?
That Wonder Woman chick, always forget her name.
Yes, Rachel Osovich.
Yep.
Yeah, she's fucking fantastic. Like, and a lot of them have like crazy records because they're matched up against people who turn out to be Rose Namajunas later. Yep. You know. So, but you just don't know 2 fights in that you're fighting fucking a future champ and shit. Like, it's really wild, and it's really cool to see how these people grow in that division. And Shannon Knapp is a motherfucking magic maker as far as I'm concerned in the way that she pulls new talent. Like, she pulls some of the highest level female MMA talent in the world consistently, and they constantly steal it from her, and she still finds new ones. Yep. Like, there was supposed to be 2 separate main events, both of which are now signed to the UFC. Megan Anderson and Tanya Evinger.
That's right.
It's crazy. So, huge props to Shannon Knapp. Also, you guys should absolutely 100% check the link in the description. You should go become a Patreon of their Patreon page where you get all the all access stuff. They have interviews with every one of the fighters before the fights. Full on video. They take questions. They do giveaways. It's like $3 a month, I think, is how much it costs. And they're fucking... Right. And all of it just goes back into the promotion, because it's literally just TJ DeSantis, Shannon Knapp, and Julie Kedzie on most of the episodes literally just trying to get these girls' names out there and doing it for the love of WMMA. So I always support Invicta. I know people sometimes give Shannon Knapp shit for how much that people get paid, but like, man, Shannon Knapp has no money to throw around either, and she's no Dana White, so
I think she's doing right by what she has.
When she always has, like she's worked with a bunch of promotions before, and then she literally started Invicta. She was like, we need a women's mixed martial arts organization that just shines them, and they're also, by the way, the most viewed thing on Fight Pass outside of the UFC, which is pretty cool. I think it's them and then Eddie Bravo.
Yeah, and I think Glory's on there too, right? Yeah.
Glory, I think, is right behind EBI. But really interesting, and yeah, I just can't wait for. I love every Invicta card, and especially the next card is insane. We'll cover that for sure in more depth when it happens. But as far as this card, there's a lot of people I'm not aware of, so we're going to skip a bunch of it. I did want to give a shout out to Miranda the Maverick. That's her nickname, by the way.
Oh, great.
Her last name is Maverick, and she went with the Maverick as her nickname. But she's friends with one of the guys on the UG, and from the sounds of it, people are pretty hyped on her. So I think that could be a really interesting fight. Another thing to note is if you bet on fights at all, Invicta cards open at very weird numbers. Like most of the underdogs have swung the other way since that line opened, just because people don't understand at all a lot of these women's histories or matchups, or they mix them up with the wrong person even sometimes. They just put so little effort into it that, like, I believe like the next fight, Karina Rodriguez versus Barbara Ascioli, I believe is how you pronounce it. Rodriguez opened at like a plus 400.
Wow.
Whereas most people think she should be the one winning this fight. So it's kind of crazy. They just kind of pick weird lines sometimes. So something to keep an eye out on. But I do think from everything I've heard and from everything I looked into on the Miranda Maverick Gabby Romero card or fight, I do believe Miranda will take that one. But I'm just kind of interested to see her. Same with Karina Rodriguez. I've heard a lot of good things, and she's from everything I've heard should take that. But again, scrappy close fights almost always happen in Invicta, and Shannon does some great matchmaking. Pam Bam Sorensen has shown the fuck up to a couple fights. She had that loss to Ediane Gomes, which is no shame. She had that big win over Jessica Rose Clark, and she is fighting Helena Pretty Kolesnik. I remember this is one of your favorites, Chris.
Oh, where did... I'm trying to think.
The nickname Pretty is, I know it's personally, you always like when people just use the nickname Pretty.
Oh, just in that? Well, yeah. I guess it's probably like one of those things, right, fighter, what is your nickname? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, or it's like some fucking Russian gangster assigns it to you, and you're like, yes, sir.
This is my niche. She pretty, you fight her.
Yeah, exactly. Jin Frey is taking on Ashley Cummins. I actually really am hyped for this fight. Although I think it's going to be pretty one-sided. Ashley Cummins is Smashly, recently coming off the win over Amber Brown in Invicta 22. Jin Frey coming off the loss in Invicta 19 against Ayaka Hamasaki. But she has a win over Erica Tiburcio, who was a motherfucking monster. And it's a huge win. Chris, are you familiar enough with either of these girls to have any kind of pick?
I know I've seen them fight before.
So Smashly was in a bunch of Invicta cards, and then in some old hook and shoot stuff. Also in Bellator for on the Dynamite 2 card, which I'm sure we watched. Cool. And then Jin Frey, of course, was in a bunch of Invicta cards again. I think we actually watched the Hamasaki versus Brown one way back in the day. But yeah, overall, I definitely am leaning Jin Frey in this. It could go either way. But I just think Jin Frey's experience and style is going to win out that one. Although Invicta's fucking wild, and since everybody just shows the fuck up and throws bones, I couldn't tell you really either way. Then the main event, Miliana Dudieva, of course, coming off the losses to Juliana Pena and Marion Renault, as well as the win over Elizabeth Phillips, is taking on Romero Barella, Kinoichi, who's coming off the wins over some fucking Italian ass names that I've never heard of.
Maria Casanova.
Yeah, go ahead and pronounce that first one for me.
Oh, that's super not Italian, but I don't know what even that is.
Irene
Rach?
Yeah. Irene Rach. Maria Casanova, though.
Yeah.
A bunch of wins. Looks like mostly by either armbar. She got a TKO in there, but mostly by armbar or decision.
That's an interesting fight.
Yeah, she's taking on Milana Dudiova, or Milana. Jesus Christ. How you feeling about this one? I mean, you're probably not that familiar with either of these.
Yeah, I'll probably just go with Dudieva, whatever her name is, because her last two fights were against Renault and Juliana Pena.
Both monsters.
Yeah.
And a win over Elizabeth Phillips is a big fucking deal. Elizabeth Phillips is tough as nails. People underestimate Elizabeth Phillips a lot just because she's I don't know who to compare her to. She's scrappy, but she kind of Diego Sanchez's her way through fights, or like she's like a Leslie Smith with less of a fuck about getting hit in the face a little bit. But to get a win over Elizabeth Phillips is still super impressive because she's just gonna keep walking you down. And it's always weird when people come over from like a country like Italy. I'm always curious like how that translates.
Yeah,
right?
the only Italian fighter that impressed me and you the last 2 weeks was that Marvin Vittori, that kickboxing guy.
Yeah,
with the good Muay Thai.
Super sharp.
He beat I can't remember who he was, but we had picked him last week because he survived against Antonio Carlos Jr.
Yeah, which is a huge... You survived Shoeface. That's a huge statement.
Yeah.
But we'll go ahead and wrap that Invicta one there. If you guys really want a good in-depth discussion on the Invicta card, I would absolutely recommend checking out that MMA Vivisection episode for Invicta 24. It's really good, and it's Zane Simon and Victor and I forget the other guy, and Victor's kid is crying the whole time, and Victor's internet sucks, so it's kind of crazy, but they actually get... I enjoyed it despite all that, which really says something, because that shit will normally ruin a podcast for me, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. I definitely recommend the video version though, because audio I would imagine would be more rough with all the dropouts. All right, so let's get to this quickly. We get to the UFC Fight Night 113 card in Glasgow. You ever been to Glasgow?
No, but I would definitely be down to go.
Me too. I fuck with Scotch.
After I met those two Scottish chicks when I was in Europe, they're really cool.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about them.
Aberdeen, Scotland, and they were telling me a little about.
I feel like there's a really good Scotch from Aberdeen.
Yeah, I think you're right. I can't remember what it's called, man. How many goddamn scotches are there?
There's a billion. How many whiskeys are there, Chris?
No idea.
Well, Scotch is a whiskey, so...
Well, that's what I mean.
Add
because
it to that,
you can call that moonshine, too, if you want white whiskey. There's so many variants. So...
all right, so, by the way, it should be noted, this fucking card is real good.
Oh, yeah.
Parts of this card are real good, I should say. And that, it's best explained by the fucking first fight. Leslie Smith is taking on Amanda Lemos.
Totally not lame Lemos.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Lemos.
So Jungle Fight is a legit organization, and I get that everyone thinks Leslie Smith is a gatekeeper, but she just fucked up Irene Aldana,
who was super hyped up from Mexico too.
And she's lost to Jessica I, Sarah Kaufman.
She fought Cyborg. Everyone, yeah. Come on. Since she fought fucking Cyborg.
Well, since 2014, she's lost to Cyborg, Jessica I, and Sarah Kaufman. Like, that's not a bad list. Yeah, no. And the fact that you're feeding like a 6 and 0 and 1 fighter to Leslie Smith is
that shows Leslie Smith's pretty tall too.
5'9".
5'9".
Opponent's 5'4". Yeah, that's a huge size difference. Wow, good catch. This girl
I'm just thinking she's tall, considering that they list Holly Holm at 5'8", even though she's easy 5'10". That's bullshit. They call her 5'8".
Well, I'm also starting to think Amanda Lemos might not be a 135er.
She's probably going up from 25.
Well, she's coming from Jungle Fight, which is in Brazil, so they do cut some weight, but not like American wrestler weight. Wow. I think this fight will be interesting. But which way are you leaning? I mean, I feel like it's pretty obvious at this point.
Yeah, I'm going Leslie Smith. Just
you
kind of
have to, right?
I have to do it. So that's. I mean,
which way you think it's going?
I think she's gonna finish this Amanda Lemos.
Really? Just because of the size difference? Or?
Yeah. And because I haven't seen anything from Lemos. It's really. I know it's kind of not insulting, but it's a little premature. But yeah, it's just. Yeah. It's more or less based on that. I've seen Leslie Smith fight. I haven't seen this other chick fight, so I could go with her.
I mean, that's fair. And the size difference is super significant, plus the fact that a lot of this other girl's wins have come from, like, quick finishes, or, I mean, she hit a knee in the third. In Jungle Fight, though, actually, yeah, she did have a lot of quick finishes. You're not going to get Leslie Smith out in one round, unless I haven't. She could have a death touch. That size difference and having a death touch against someone like Leslie Smith, who has a crazy chin, who, like, I think one of the only people to finish her via strikes was Cyborg. That's not true. I guess Jessica I did as well, but that was Dr. Stoppage winner. Actually, Jessica I fight is our artwork for our show, now that I think about it. So I'm picking Leslie Smith like I always pick Leslie Smith. I don't know if you remember the Cyborg fight. I don't pick against Leslie Smith.
Yeah,
so.
I just remember when Cyborg finished her, Leslie Smith was arguing against the ref calling it.
Oh, she always will. She will forever. She'll never, ever think that's acceptable to not have her fucking botting everybody. And I love her for it. I think it's great. She's Leslie Smith. You can't ask for any more, right? All right. So, what else we got? Also on the prelims, Albert Morales versus Brett Johns. Let's see. So, Albert Morales, the Warrior, is out of California. I don't know anything about this dude. He's fought 3 times in the UFC, and I don't remember any of them.
I do remember seeing him on the highlight reel of Thomas Almeida.
Oh, right.
I think it's when he punched this dude the fuck out against the cage with that gnarly, just like combo.
I believe you're
just
right.
Left hooks and uppercuts.
Yeah, and then he won a split decision after that. He's taking on Brett Johns, the Pikey. Okay, I kind of remember this dude with the Quan Ho Kwok win. Couple decisions. Decision against Quan Ho Kwok, and then back in Titan, he had a handful of decisions as well as a sub over Wallet Watson.
Well,
some kind of Watson. Welsh dude. People are high on this guy. I don't know if it's just because he's out of Wales, but people are kind of high on him.
Yeah, I'm going with him, mainly because he's undefeated. Granted, he's had one fight in the UFC, but we're in Scotland here. Whether the Scottish don't like to admit that they're part of the UK, technically, I feel like the judges would be a little bit biased towards the other UK fighters, such as a fellow Welshman.
Yeah.
I know it's worse in boxing than it is in UFC, but granted, when we saw that Vitor Belfort gift over Nate Marquardt in Brazil...
to be fair, a lot of the judges are signed by the UFC, though, in overseas places where there's no commission. So it might be assigned by the UFC, which means it might be like whoever's available, you know?
Yeah.
But, that being said, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a decision to Brett Johns, probably either way. Also, I think Brett Johns probably has the better wrestling in this. And I see Brett Johns being able to kind of keep a distance, pick it apart, and then win enough of the exchanges to not end up on his back and lose that fight. Then again, I barely remember seeing any of those dudes fight, so take that for what it's worth. Daniel Henry with no picture on Sherdog, always a good sign.
Scotland's own.
Out of Scotland, fighting in EFC. Taking on Daniel Tamor, also no picture.
Team Underwears represent.
That's right.
David's brother.
Recent fights out of Sweden. Recent fights in Battle of Batania. Botnia? It's Botnia. Why did I go with Botnia? Oh, also
Botnia.
Scandinavian Fight Nights is a good one. I really like that.
Swedish.
International Ring Fight Arena is also a good combination of words. All first round finishes should be noted.
All right. So, I'll tell you why I'm going for Daniel Tamer. First of all, it's David Tamer's brother.
Oh, it is, huh?
Second of all, he is the size of an ant. So if you look at his height, he's not going to be able to get hit. Can you please read me his height?
His height is
0 inches tall. So I'm going with Ant-Man. Daniel Ant-Man Tamer is going to be the winner.
Wow. Sherdog does
Do you
list
think that's
him.
safe? Wouldn't you go with Ant-Man?
Yeah.
He's not gonna
I
get
mean,
hit.
if you weigh...
He's got the same size. He's got the same strength. He's just going to throw him around.
If you weigh 150 pounds and your height is 0 foot
gotta be pretty
0 on
strong.
Sherdog,
You got to be pretty strong.
I'm pretty sure you might be a ghost. So, yeah. I believe Daniel Tamer, you know what? I've officially changed my pick. I was going to go Daniel Henry, but you're right, Chris. I believe...
And you know what? His brother will always be Team Underwears. Now Daniel's Ant-Man to me. Sorry,
That's
it's just
right.
Ant-Man.
Well, and
Yeah.
not only that, but Daniel will also send Daniel Henry to his hometown, the land of wind and ghosts, as far as I'm concerned.
There we go.
I'm going Tamer by knockout.
What is this, a fight for ants?
Yeah. I'm going with the ant knockout. Jesus, that was a good catch. I did not even notice that until you said
I
it.
was like, what the fuck?
That's amazing. I'm really happy about that. All right, Charlie Ward there's a name I recognize. Taking on Galore Buffando. Shut the fuck up. That's
Dude,
a
that's
name.
like a creative fighter name.
Yes. Oh my god.
And look at him, he's an ant too.
That was my weird
He's an ant too.
Oh my god. That was my weird Russian porn name. They didn't understand what galore meant. They kept going, glory? I'm like, no, that's different.
Galore.
Yeah, Buffando. That's a great last name. You know, I Buffando mini a chick. Let's see. So, Jesus, that name. I just can't get... He's English, too. Like, it's not... He's listed as English.
I want to see what he looks like.
I do, too. Unfortunately, Sherdog does not have us covered. His recent fights in Ultimate Challenge, where he's been fucking people up in the first round, except for when he got DQ'd by kneeing someone in the face when they're on the ground.
Thanks.
And he's taking on Charlie Ward, who is out of Ireland, also an ant.
Yep.
And I do remember Charlie Ward losing via KO against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, who actually has done some decent things.
Oh, we just saw that guy fight like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. He's also at SBG is the other reason why you remember his name, Charlie Ward.
Oh, yeah.
So we got one of Connor's boys taking on Galore Buffando.
I love the ants.
Yep. Who you leaning?
I think I like Buffando. I like Buffando because of his name and because he had a bunch of first round finishes. Granted, Ward has only one fight in the UFC, which is one more than this Buffando guy, but I'll take the guy who has more finishes and around the same record.
That's probably a smart pick. I am going to go Ward, not because I give any fucks about him training at SBG, but mostly just because I can't really, take a dude's 1 minute in loss.
Oh, shouts out to Terrible covering up your Nazi tattoos, probably.
Oh, shit. You're right.
Or something
I'm
offensive.
going for Galore.
Galore.
Galore is my pick at the Vuelta.
Battle of the Ants.
This show's gotten real weird. I blame Jana. Jana, this is all your fault.
It's all her fault.
It's all Jana. This is by the way, you guys, when I do a girl voice, it's Jana's voice. I don't know if I've told you this.
Jana.
It's fucking Jana. She gets so mad at her.
Alright, we got Alexandre Pantoja, who is a veteran of Tough 24 last year. Pretty damn skilled. If I remember, he's the number 2 on that show. Granted, that was on Tough, but I remember he made it to the semifinals. I've also heard of Neil Seary. He's a vet as well.
Yeah, I fucking didn't think Neil Seary was still fighting. I mixed him up with someone else. I believe I mixed him up with Brad Pickett. I always mix up Neil Seary and Brad Pickett because they're the same kind of fighter to me. Like, they're just the, like, fucking put on your hard hat and walk forward type of fighter to me. Neil Siri, of course, 2-tap, coming off the loss to Kyoji Horiguchi.
Wait, is he at SPG too?
Nope. He's Team Hayano. I have no idea how you pronounce that. John De Los Reyes, he has the win over, lost to Lee Smolka by decision, and the win over Chris Beal. Some big wins. Does have the loss over Brad Pickett. Maybe that's where I mixed him up. And he is taking on Alejandro Pantoja, who has the recent wins over Damasio Page and Axis TV in 2015, and then the Eric Shelton win back in January. He's out of Novo Uniao and Blackhouse, which is pretty. That's a hell of a combo.
Yeah, Aldo's gym, right? Yeah.
Yep. So, which way are you leaning on that one?
I'm going Pantoja because he's also no. He's not Aldo's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach. That was another guy that was on that same season. My bad. But I'm going Pantoja based on he just beat Eric Shelton, who looked amazing, even against Tim Elliott on Tough. Arguably, people thought he
actually could be Aldo's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach. Look at this. It was 24. That was totally him, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the Connor season?
There was two guys that were on that. One of them was... no, that was the...
No, it was the season before
that was the Mighty
Cody.
Mouse season.
Yeah.
But, excuse me. Yeah, it was him or this one other dude that were Aldo's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach. It's one of the, it might just be Pantoja because at the same gym. Either I'm going with him because he beat Shelton. No disrespect to Siri. I know he's a more seasoned veteran. He's fought better guys, on a who's basis. But wait, when was the last time this guy? He fought about a year ago. He just fought this year. I know that doesn't usually mean shit sometimes, but as Kevin Lee once said, Neil Siri, motherfuckers fought almost 30 fights, lost half of them. So, I mean, I gotta go Pantoja on this one.
You know what, just to make it interesting, I'm gonna go Siri. I think you're probably right just off of activity, but Siri is tough as fucking nails, and he's hard to get out of there. So I feel like it could go late and Siri could eke out a decision.
Yeah.
But I think it goes to decision. I think it'll be interesting. I feel like it kind of just depends on whether or not Neil Siri can not end up on bottom or stuck against cage. But I mean, dude, I totally probably would lean Pantoja as well. He's been on a fucking roll lately, and he's got nasty ground game. Let's see. Up next, Hot Chocolate, I believe, right?
Yeah, Danny Roberts.
Yep, taking on Bob and Nash. Hot Chocolate coming off the loss to Mike Perry,
Dude,
which was a scrappy fight.
Yeah.
And he made it to the third with Mike Perry, which not a lot of people do. Also, he had that win over Dominic Steele, which was super impressive as well.
Nathan Coy and ATT.
Yep.
Too.
Dude, got some names on
Jim
his list for
too.
sure.
Wow.
Yeah, he's definitely he's been around. He's been fucking people up. Also out of England, which is I always forget about until he talks. He's taking on
Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts.
Bobby Nash. Nasty, my least favorite nickname, even more than
Beast
Miranda the Maverick. I like Nasty less than that. He has wins over DeRay Davis in RFA, Luis Gonzalez in some shit called GKO, and a loss to Jengalang.
Yeah, this seems quick. I'm going with Roberts.
Yeah, you can't really blame him for the Jengalang loss because everybody loses to Jengalang.
Looks good when he looks good. His last fight, he fought, I don't want to say a nobody. He fought that one guy, what's his face, who kind of had the inner Robbie Lawler moment.
Yeah.
What was that dude's name? I don't.
Darren Elkins?
No, it was...
I knew it wasn't that. I just can't think of who you're talking about. That was the most recent inner Robbie Lawler moment I thought.
Yeah. Either way, I just like Danny Roberts' skill set, what he brings. The fact that he actually almost knocked out Mike Perry, too. Remember, he'd stunned the fuck out of Mike Perry in that fight.
Yeah, he clipped him pretty bad.
I gotta go Danny Roberts.
Yeah, that's the way I'm leaning, too. I generally pick for... I generally lean towards...
Oh, it was Camacho. President Camacho was the guy that... That Jangalang just beat.
Yep. I generally lean more towards activity and especially experience, and I feel like Hot Chocolate has both of those in recent history. Fighting, having 3 UFC fights in a year, basically, if you look at that. It's pretty back to back, and then having taken a year off almost, or whatever, 8 months off. I think he's probably due for a good showing. So yeah, I'm gonna lean hot chocolate as well. James Mulhern taking on Justin Willis. James Mulhern,
another
heavyweight out of England.
Heavyweight ant.
He's a 250-pound, 0 foot 0 size person. Wins in some shit called M4TC.
Wow.
What? Mates for the cage.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dub it. Well, actually, we have to now figure out what the fuck the name of this is, right? Made for the cage. I was so motherfucking close, dog. And they're out of England, so really it is mates. It really is mates for the cage. Let's be fair. Yeah, I basically was right.
It's a dating service for MMA.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, so it's Map Battle.
Yeah.
There's
Justin Willis and Ant too.
There's an MMA Underground joke for you. Holy shit! This dude has fought on every one of these cards in this promotion.
He did fight in Bellator.
Also, yeah, had a fight in Bellator and won over Neil Grove, which is interesting. Back in last year, actually, that's not that long ago. I think I fucking remember that fight. And
this guy's not an Ant.
He's taken off. He's taken a fight against Justin Will. Wow, I'm stumbling. Justin Willis at AKA, who is coming off a win over Giuliano. Go ahead and try that one, Chris.
Coutinho?
Sure. And Rizan Kuniev and Yusuke Kawaguchi. James Kirby, I can nail that one. Let's see. His last fight was back in June of 2016. And Mulhern's was in February of this year. Which way are you leaning?
I'm leaning towards this guy.
Mulhern?
Yeah, because he just has more fights. More active.
I would normally agree with you. However, this dude's out of AKA, and I've never even heard anyone. This guy doesn't even go
to the gym.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change my pick, though. I'll just say fuck it. Just go with Mulhern.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm just going Willis off of him being out of AKA in San Jose and having fought in WSOF, but I kind of got nothing.
The Bear Jew.
That's right, Paul Craig versus Khalil Roundtree.
Shut up, Mom, Roundtree.
That's right. How do you see this one going?
I got the Bear Jew. Because every Roundtree fight I've seen lately, I feel like he gives up or guesses at the end.
He's been having issues for sure.
Yeah. Great on the feet, but I feel like when he gets to the ground, he panics. I have no idea what Paul Craig's ground game is like lately, because we didn't get to see it when he got knocked out by Tyson Pedro.
Yep.
But yeah, I just that feeling in the back of my mind that I've seen Khalil Roundtree. I don't want to say the term give up because we don't know what he's experiencing when he's in that fight because I'm not a fighter, but I feel like I feel like he leaves a lot out there.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. And when he's on. Like, he's shown that a couple times.
Yeah, but I got to go with Paul Craig. I feel like this hometown fight's going to fire him up extra, want to get back on that winning path. Because, he was recently undefeated prior to that loss.
I think so, too. It's interesting that they both have losses to Tyson Pedro. I think, and they're both, one's via TKO, the other one is via choke. And, Jesus, I didn't realize how quick that TKO was. That's a really quick TKO for elbows. Into the first. I like Khalil Roundtree a lot, and I think he's underrated. I think he gets a bad rap because of who he's fought. I mean, Tyson Pedro is a beast, and Andrew Sanchez is
a good wrestler.
Was a bad matchup, from what I remember. That was one where he got wrestle fucked, and his mom made fun of him. And the Daniel Jolly fight, that was destined for a win. I'm you know what, I'm gonna take Khalil in this one. I do think it will probably go to decision, which is weird to say for this size of motherfucker. Especially considering both have a bunch of stoppages. Wow, I didn't realize how many subs Bear Jew had.
That's why I'm going with him, because I know Roundtree panics when he's on the ground.
Yeah, I have to change my pick. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
I like Khalil Roundtree, but I didn't realize I forgot how many subs. No, you know what?
Just go with it, dude, because then at least you know Roundtree
I'll go
has the
Khalil.
advantage on the feet, though.
Yeah,
dude,
you know
so
what?
You probably get him against Gage.
Despite better.
Being a little hesitant, it's all good.
Yeah, despite knowing better, I'm gonna go Khalil Roundtree by decision. I think Paul Craig probably gets him out with sub. Well, just because I feel like at some point Khalil ends up in a scramble that he loses and ends up in a comparable position, whether it's getting his back taken or getting stuck on the bottom. But if he can avoid both of those, I feel like he could do all right on the feet. And also he has nasty ground and pound he's shown in the past. So I'll go Khalil, but with zero confidence in that at all. Jack Marshman taking on Ryan James. Jack Marshman, the Hammer, coming off the loss to the dude with the hammer on his chest, Thiago Santos, and the win over Magnus Siedenblad, which is a big win. Let's see, Ryan James out of... James, you're right. Yeah. Apologies. Coming out of Canada, out of some fucking gym I've never heard of, and he fought against Gerald Marshart.
Gerald Skidmark.
Yeah, Gerald Mearshart, who he lost to via armbar, and then the win over Keith Barish.
Ooh, this one's actually kind of tough to call.
Yeah, I mean, Gerald Mearshart has looked good recently.
I think he lost last week. Because I chose him and he lost.
I think he did as well, but I feel like he's still good in that fight, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it was actually a really close fight.
Yeah, if I remember right. Here, we'll look it up. TKO punches in the second. Oh, right. That he fought, ironically enough, the dude with the hammer on his chest. Thiago Santos. Fucking Chris, this was 7 days ago.
Yep.
6 days ago.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I totally remember that fight. This dude's tough as nails. And losing via armbar to that dude is no shame. Because he looked great in the... He actually almost caught a couple subs in the fight that he lost to Thiago. Like, he was super competitive. Man, this is kind of a tough one. Which way you leaning?
I think we go with Marshman.
Think so?
He's the Welsh guy. They'll stick with not necessarily home crowd.
So you think it'll go to decision?
Yeah. I think this could be a back and forth battle. Probably a pretty good fight, actually. Pretty competitive between both. But if it goes to decision, if it's close enough, I think they'll edge it out to Marshman. That's what I'm kind of feeling.
I am actually going to go Ryan James. I think he is probably underrated in this one just because he's coming off that loss to Mearshart. Yeah. And I think he just genuinely got caught by a dude who's super scrappy and is good at that shit. I don't know. I have no fucking idea how this will go. Probably decision, I would say. Like an ugly fucking... just constantly countering Marshman's bullshit and sticking him on his back or against the cage kind of decision. But probably going to lean James in this one. But again, not with any conviction. Just... I'm not going to say entirely to just pick some different shit than Chris, but a little bit of that going on, just because I'm not real confident either way. Stevie Ray versus Paul Felder. How about this one? I know you got feelings about Stephen Ray.
Scotland's own Stevie Ray Vaughan.
That's right, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
It's just kind of like as Co-Main does it, they like to make their own names. That's just, I think, our name for him. We just
permanently called him Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah. Let's see. I know he just had a really good fight against Joe Lozon. I know Reddit didn't like that decision, but that's because Joe Lozon's a big Redditor and everyone loves him there. I watched that fight again.
And it was a close fight.
Yeah, I think it was like a round that kind of decided that. I think it was the first or the final round.
Yeah.
And then Paul Felder, I forgot, he just lost the fight, or CB's still been winning. I think he did lose.
He went over.
He did lose to Trinaldo, but it was stoppage. She had a gnarly, busted open eyebrow.
Yeah. And then, his last loss before that was the split to Ross Pearson.
Oh, that's the
which a lot of people think that he won.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the Italian guy that he beat. Because remember, you mentioned there was another Italian guy not named Marvin Vittori.
Oh, Alessandro Ricci.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's friends with Frank Mir, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think it's actually a close fight.
I think it is too, because both these guys have been looking really good lately.
Damn, this is probably one of the closest fights to call in the whole card. I think I'm going Felder. Stevie Ray probably has better grappling from what I've seen in cage pressure, but Paul Felder, in my opinion, has better boxing and like the inside kind of counter game with the angles. I really like what he was doing in Felder. I think, what was the fight I saw? Berkman was. I definitely saw that, and he knocked someone. Oh, it was Pearson, I think. So who did he knock out? Castillo. Yeah, because that was one of Danny Castillo's fights. That was very fun to watch.
That was like one of his last
out.
ones we've seen. Yeah.
I'm going Paul Felder. If he wins this, he's going to try to call out Mark Diakiese, even though Diakiese's coming off a loss, because those guys have been talking shit like crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Paul Felder's so much further ahead in
That's
the rankings.
what I'm saying. Yeah, I think more or less it's because Diakiese was calling him out.
Yeah, but it would be weird for Felder to even...
If Felder loses, I could see them doing that, maybe, but...
Still. That's like... Diakiese just lost,
Yeah.
I'm actually leaning Stevie Ray Vaughan. I don't know. I'm going with him for a couple dumb reasons. Number one, I know Paul Felder has a little bit of trouble when he gets pressured. Like he does very well, but he'll get into just like let's go 1-for-1 on strikes kind of situations. I don't at all think Stevie's gonna finish him. I think he's definitely gonna go to decision. But I do think he's going to win enough exchanges to let Paul Felder get comfortable on the feet and get dumb takedowns, or at least get cage control enough to kind of make it ugly and sloppy and like a Ross Pearson kind of win.
Yeah.
And I don't have any kind of real confidence in this. If I was going to say someone's going to finish this fight, it's absolutely going to be Paul Felder, probably by fucking crazy Don Cerrone type ninja combo, but I don't know. I feel like Stevie Ray's the kind of guy who's gonna show the fuck up in his hometown and in a crazy way, and so I think he's just gonna get the upset here. But I would not be surprised either way. Let's see. Up next, we got a fucking fun fight, man. I'm excited for this one. And I have weird feelings about this fight too. We got Joanne Calderwood taking on Cynthia Calvillo, female Diaz, as she's been described. She has a win over Pro Gonzalez and ABC back-to-back in the UFC, and then she has the win in LFA. And JoJo is coming off of the loss to Jessica Andrade, no fucking shame, and the wins over Valerie Letourneau and Courtney Casey, who evidently now has a last name on top of that. Chris, which way are you leaning on this fight? Because I think it's going to be a fun one.
This is a really tough one to call. Because part of me thinks Calvillo, if she gets, any sort of back control or any sort of mount, she'll be able to, in any position she can really grab Joanne Calderwood's neck or any sort of submission to him. But I've seen her jiu-jitsu looks pretty solid as far as from Team Alpha Male. Her ground game, her transitions are really good, especially against Pro Gonzalez, who was a decent wrestler. Calderwood probably has a little bit of size advantage. She probably is better up on standing.
Definitely has size advantage, I would say. Yeah. And you got to remember that fucking Valerie Letourneau. Valerie Letourneau, although she is like a 125er, is not that small for 135.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate going against the hometown, but I think I might go with Calvillo because she's just been on a roll and she looked like a really hot prospect. I feel like she's going to be hungry for this win. If she beats Calderwood, it's going to really escalate her in the rankings of 115. She'll probably be put in the top 15 at the strawweights.
Oh, absolutely she will be, because Dana White fucking loves her. He thinks she's the goddamn best. She's the girl who he keeps being dragging to press conferences and being like, fucking Cynthia Calvillo, right guys? He's so hyped on that chick. I don't know who she high-fived, but somebody. I'm actually going Cynthia Calvillo as well, but mostly just because she's from 209 and Stockton, bitch, is what, motherfucker? All right, so I'm next.
AKA Chick Diaz.
Yeah. Up next, we got Gunnar Nelson versus Santiago Ponzinibbio.
These are all tough fights.
Gunnar Nelson, the reason why I can't type the word Gunna on my phone without autocorrecting to fucking Gunner and make me look like an asshole, is taking on Santiago the Gentleman Gentaboa. I don't know, or Gentaboa. I don't know why I
Gente boy, he's Argentinian.
I don't know how to fucking pronounce. I'm not going to speak Portuguese, dog.
You mean Spanish?
Sure, he's from Argentina.
Spanish.
It says Nogueira right there. It could be either one.
Yeah, well,
Nogueira and ATT. That could be. That's
to be fair, he's probably Portuguese and by blood, or Brazilian by blood, but he's born in Argentina. That's probably what it was.
I don't know, because I know Eugene Robinson was talking to the Brazilians in his gym, and they were like, Santiago Ponzinibbio, and they're like, fuck him, he's from Argentina, don't pick him.
Yeah, he's Argentinian, man.
So I don't know, it's fucking goofy. Anyway, Santiago Ponzinibbio coming off of wins over, Jesus Christ, that's a lineup. Court McGee, Zach Cummins, and Nordine Taleb.
Wow.
That's a motherfucking list. Gunnar Nelson.
But look at his list.
Coming off of arguably better wins. Alan Jouban and Albert Tumanov lost to Damian Maia and the win over Brandon Thatch.
Oh, he survived against Maia to Battle of the Black Belts.
Yeah, also a win over Zach Cummins, just like Santiago. Wow, this is a good fight. Now that I'm looking at this, their history recently, this is a fucking great matchup. This is really good matchmaking by Sean Shelby. Man, which way are you leaning?
Dude, this is probably the toughest fight to call.
Man, his only loss recently is Lorenz Larkin and Ryan LaFlair. Wow, Ryan LaFlair doesn't fit in that lineup.
I mean, Ryan LaFlair's a pretty good jiu-jitsu guy too, right? Decent
wrestler.
Oh, he's a wrestler, yeah.
I mean, he's got good.
Well, I know he
jiu-jitsu
trained with Sarah too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but Gunnar Nelson is.
Dude.
I mean, to be fair, guys, Gunnar Nelson is kind of Ryan LaFlair.
Yeah.
Like when you think about his style, it's kind of Ryan LaFlair a little ish. Man, I don't know. Which way are you leaning?
See, this is sad because I haven't even really seen Ponzinibbio fights. I'm kind of robbing him of kind of a more justified judgment call here. So that's why I got to go with Gunnar Nelson, just based on what I've seen. Like, I can't confidently pick Ponzinibbio as much as, trust me, I really want to pick him over Gunnar Nelson because I feel like he's kind of one of those guys that you haven't heard of, but now this is him.
Yeah.
But I just have to go with Gunnar Nelson just based on that. I've seen him fight. I know he's comfortable standing up against long rangey fighters like Alan Jouban. Like, how tall is Ponzinibbio? He's 6 foot, so average size for, what are they, middleweight? Oh, they're welterweights.
Yeah, the same size, basically.
Yeah. I'll just stick with Gunnar Nelson, but if Pozinibbio wins, I'm not going to hold it against myself if I get that wrong.
Yeah,
I just haven't seen him fight enough.
I'm actually leaning Pozinibbio on this one, mostly just because I've never been sold on Gunnar Nelson. He has nasty jiu-jitsu when he is like mentally there, or when he can get you into ugly grappling exchanges. I think Ponzinibbio is too high level to get into ugly grappling exchanges the way Gunnar likes, and I think it's going to cause him some pretty bad issues. Also, despite Gunnar coming off a fucking crazy knockout win in his last fight, right? He killed Alan Jouban on the feet and then subbed him.
No, yeah, he basically
could have
gotten a TKO. But he's like,
it was essentially a knockout. Yeah. That's the way I see Gunnar winning this, is if he cracks Ponzinibbio coming in trying to grab something in a scramble. But I think Ponzinibbio is just going to win the wrestling exchanges against the cage and kind of just make Gunnar Nelson uncomfortable enough to cause issues. So I'm going to lean that way. Again, not real confident. And this isn't one of those cards that I think is going to be like... no one's talking about it ahead of time, but I do think it'll be a card that'll afterwards everyone's like, dude, that was a fucking kind of pretty great card. Like, shitload of finishes and a bunch of scrappy fights.
I could see it for sure.
Kind of like the Bellator card tonight. Like, not a lot of names on the Bellator card tonight, but, like, there were some fucking scrappy fights. Like, that main event was crazy.
Yeah, that's fucking chaos.
Literally second best fight of the year. So, we will go and wrap this here, but it was fun going through this card, and it'll be a cool weekend of fights. I mean, having a Bellator card an Invicta card and a UFC card all back to back on a weekend on different days is kind of rad. Not to mention Glory happened.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. And then we have Invicta here in 2 weeks. We got UFC 214 in 2 weeks. We got fucking Kelvin Gastelum next weekend versus Chris Weidman.
That's gonna be good.
Man, we got all kinds of stuff coming up. Chris Cyborg fights in 2 weeks, assuming no one dies before then.
Tyron Woodley, Damian Maia's on 214.
Yep. It's going to be a wild couple,
Donald Cerrone, Robbie Lawler's on 214.
Jesus, I forgot they got moved back to that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other good ones too.
Oh my god, that card's going to be good. And then a month after that, we have the shit show of all shit shows, so...
Oh, is that the,
Oh, come on. The shit show of all shit shows. Let me give you a hint. There's a tiny Irishman in it that's real loudmouth.
Oh, I thought you were thinking of MMA and you're talking about 215 in Edmonton.
I was just joking. Yeah. He's also not that tiny. He's only like 10 inches taller. Shorter.
He's like 5'9", like average short person.
He's like the same height as me. I'm just fucking around. I'm way fatter though. Does that help?
he's longer than all of us.
I'll fill out that shitty fur coat he was wearing. Like him. So we are gonna go ahead and wrap it here now that I've shit on Conor McGregor's dragon fur coat. I should say dragon polar bear fur coat, as he described it. If you guys want to hit us up, you can find us on Twitter, TSOV Pod. Email the show, chris@thesoundofviolence.com.
Oh, and of course, find us on iTunes.
That's right, we're on iTunes, we're on Google Play, we're on fucking any podcast engine that works with iTunes or Google Play. We're on Stitcher. We're on everything. So, or YouTube. I think the only thing we're not on is SoundCloud, because I don't think anyone cares, and I don't want to pay an extra $25 just for fucking SoundCloud. Yeah. So unless someone really cares, let me know, and then maybe I'll think about it. But anyway, you can find all of our shit all over the place. Hit us up. Let us know what podcast you should be listening to. Let us know how goddamn rambly we are. And everybody go check out the fucking Invicta card on Fight Pass this weekend with TJ commenting along with Julie Kedzie. If you guys have not watched an Invicta card before, you're missing out, and it's really goddamn good. So give that a watch, and we will see you guys next week. We will also recap next week. Chris, you want to go over some more Dana White looking for, or not looking for a fight?
A Contender.
Tuesday night?
I'll see that next Tuesday for sure. So we'll recap that as well.
Since it's on Fight Pass, I figure we'll both watch it, and we'll talk about the. If we don't talk about the legit commentary, we'll talk about Snoop Dogg at least.
That was surprisingly fun.
I mean, anytime you're drinking gin and juice and smoking weed on camera, it's not a bad time, you know? So shouts out to that, and we'll be back next week. So hit us up, let us know what we should be listening to. And until next time, everybody, let's go do something decadent. We out. Later.